Welcome to a post-trade deadline Tuesday morning. It is Ben and Woods broadcasting live both from San Diego, California and the north shore of the island of Oahu, Hawaii, where Woods is pointing at his ear as though he can't hear me already this morning. Fortunately, I believe this is the last day that he's going to be broadcasting remotely. Looking forward to getting Woodsy back in the studio on Thursday. Buddy, can you hear me right now? Hello? Can you hear me? Woods, are you there? No, I'm going to take that as a no, Paulie.
I said we can hear you.
Let me introduce our executive producer, Paulie Reindl, who you probably would think has just been sitting.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, good.
I can hear
Hi.
you.
Good morning, Woods. Welcome.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
He's
can
about
hear you
30
now.
seconds delayed, clearly.
I can hear you guys.
Good.
So let's just wait.
I can hear
30
you.
seconds.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
So you asked him 10 seconds or 30 seconds ago 10 different times
I can hear you.
if he can hear you or not.
This will be a fun 4 hours if every time I talk to Woods, we have to wait about 20 seconds for the audio to travel halfway across the Pacific Ocean and back for him to respond to anything that we say this morning. So we'll try to get that fixed. Again, introduce Paulie Reindl, who has not been sitting on his thumbs for the last 45 minutes. He and Woods have been feverishly working to try to improve upon yesterday's technology, which ultimately kind of failed us in the end. We thought we were upgrading today. In fact, we may have downgraded from yesterday if this is what we're going to be dealing with this morning. And it's unfortunate because we got a lot of big news, of course, as the Padres add a pair of starting pitchers at the trade deadline. I'm sure you were listening all day yesterday here to 97.3 The Fan as the Padres picked up Robbie Ray from the San Francisco Giants and Casey Mize from the Detroit Tigers.
I think I got it.
Oh, good. He thinks he's got it.
Okay. I got it.
Good morning,
Okay.
Woods.
You were.
Yes. Are you going balls deep already? Just right into Casey Mize and
No, I just was mentioning what happened yesterday.
Sounded like it.
Getting everyone caught up.
So I know exactly what happened. You had YouTube open on your laptop as well because you wanted to be in the chat and talking with our great listeners throughout the morning. And that's the audio that you were getting, and it was probably, 20 to 30 seconds delayed.
Yes.
I think we got it now. Because, Ben asked you about 10 different times, can you hear us? And then a minute later, we just hear, yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
I hate this so much. Ben said, I think this is the last day he'll be broadcasting from there. I want to let everybody know this is the last day I'll be broadcasting ever. So really take it in and enjoy it. And if you hate me, then you're happy. And if you love me, then you're sad. But this is it for me. This is my swan song, today's show, because I'm taking this equipment when I leave this room and I'm going to light it on fire in the parking lot. Then I'm going to piss all over its ashes, and I'm going to take those ashes and I'm going to put them into a Hawaiian luau, and everyone's going to dance around it, and we're going to celebrate. So this is it. Enjoy it. I'm going to drink it in 4 more hours with you guys. You will not be seeing me again after today. I swear to God.
Fair enough. Next time we see you, we'll be in person on Thursday morning. So I'm looking forward to that.
No.
Oh, no, never again.
No, he's done.
You're just done. Even
This is the last show that I'm ever going to do, I think. Because I think the stress of this week has almost killed me. Yesterday, no exception, certainly. I spent my whole day with Paulie on the phone, and kudos to Paulie.
I spent hours on this yesterday, and
hours.
I don't know about you. I at least was justifying it in my head to keep myself sane because I wanted to throw my phone off my patio.
Yeah,
I'm telling myself, hey, present Paul is just helping future Paul. 5:30 in the morning, Paul. We're gonna get this all dialed in tonight, so it's plug and go in the morning. And
100%.
None of that actually happened, and here we are.
Dude, listen to the day yesterday. So I gotta tell you, I don't remember our open yesterday. I don't remember it. Like I swear to God, I had 15 minutes of sleep. I got in here, we got set up. It didn't really work. The show, I did 3 hours with you guys and then I left. Hopefully the last hour went okay. So I am in they're kind enough here to give me this hospitality suite. So I'm in a room, as I told you, I think yesterday. So I thought I'm going to grab all the gear and I'm going to lug it all the way across the resort back to our room. So I did that. And then I met my family for breakfast, and we went to the little buffet. They had a buffet. So we actually had a lovely breakfast, coffee and eggs and bacon and, you know, whatever you want. It was a breakfast buffet. It was what beats that on vacation?
Breakfast
Nothing,
buffets are pretty elite on vacation.
It's pretty elite. My kids got Fruit Loops. Then they also got some eggs and bacon. Like, we just had the greatest time. So we're walking out of the restaurant and I have to go up, 3 stairs. Well, Ben, Paul, tier ones, your boy landed wrong and I fell up the stairs. Okay.
Up the stairs.
And I fell up the stairs.
You fell
up
the stairs.
That's
hard to do.
No, when you hit that bottom step, now they're the big wide step. So I hit the bottom step, my foot slips, my whole body falls to the ground. It's very loud.
Mm-hmm.
I land like on my knuckles on the hardwood floor.
Yeah.
I fell so up, and I don't know, there's 30 people standing there waiting to go in. So everybody saw me. So that's what I heard behind me is my wife cackling as the lady at the front desk was like, from a distance, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, I'm fine." I was with my kids. And I fell up the stairs. It was so mortifying. And Hannah,
that's the second feeble thing you've done in the last 30 days.
That's right. My wife was laughing so hard, and I started dying laughing. And I go, "Man, this isn't great, right? This is not great." So yeah, everyone was just standing around pointing and laughing as I fell, and I tweaked my back and my neck falling up the stairs. So finally get out to the room, unload all the gear. We go sit by the pool, and it's really nice. It's a little windy and a little chilly, but we made it. And all of a sudden, I start texting with Paulie. This is at like noon my time. Okay? So Paulie's like, "Bro, we need to figure this thing out." And I said, "Yep." So I go back to my room, Ben. I grab all the gear. I lug it back up to the hospitality suite. Paulie and I spend about an hour in there doing FaceTime, getting everything connected, the Wi-Fi, the hotspot. He's on the phone with engineers. We get it connected through the Wi-Fi, which is what we were trying to do. We get it connected. We're ready to go.
Just so, like, little knowledge here, background knowledge. Like, the reason this was so difficult, it's not like charging or connecting an iPad to hotel Wi-Fi. Like, we're trying to do this broadcast, and this equipment that we need, it's getting blocked by like hotel firewalls and stuff. I mean, It was like I was on the phone with IT and engineering for like at least a full hour yesterday on this.
Yeah. So we get it. We connect. And so I looked around and I go, okay, I'm just going to leave this as is. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to leave it. I wrote a note. I put the note on top of my computer. This is my name. This is my room number. I was told I could use this. If there's a problem, just call me. Okay? Now this is, I'm assuming nobody else is checking in this room or using this hospitality suite for the rest of the day. Go back down there. Bo and I go swim. Taylor swim, whatever. We go back. I'm chilling in my room. Padres game starts. So that would be 3:40 my time. Okay. At about 4:30, I get a phone call. Hey, you need to come get this stuff out of the room, the hospitality suite. And I go, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, you got to come get it out. We use it for other things. You can use it in the morning. I go, oh my God. Okay. So I come all the way across the resort. I walk up to the door. My key doesn't work. They've blocked my key. My key does not work. All my gear is in here. It's all in the room. So at this point, I am I'm fit to be tied at this point. So then I go track somebody down. They let me in. I get the gear. I have to lug it back to my room. Then I bring it up this morning. Guess what? Paulie and I try to connect. We can't. It doesn't connect. I'm homicidal. I'm as homicidal as I've ever been. So
the amount of times in the last 12 hours that I've gotten this close to just being like, F it, I don't care anymore. I just don't care about this anymore. This has been quite absurd, I would say.
It really has been insane. And I, but we were able to connect my AirPods to my computer so that it should sound a little bit better today than it did yesterday. Hopefully you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, I get you like 8% better than yesterday, I think. So
that's
a slight improvement.
Which is not nothing. And and now I have the knowledge that there's at least 40 people that will be talking about that guy that tripped up the stairs for the rest of their lives. Like, remember that time we were on vacation and that dude fell up the stairs and his wife was laughing. His wife was laughing at him the whole time. So mortifying.
What I want to know, though, Woods, is what you are teaching your children, because I saw the post you made from breakfast, your brunch buffet yesterday after the show, where you had a picture of Taylor in front of his bowl of Fruit Loops and a quote from Taylor that said, "You should really only eat bacon at night because it's pork." What are you teaching him? Pork is delicious before noon.
That is what we call Taylor logic. And he's really great at it. If I really should have compiled a book of his little sayings, because this kid, man, I'm telling you, dude, like, he spent the entire day. I barely saw him. I saw him, but we barely hung out. There was a water slide by the chairs that we were sitting in. Oh, yeah, this dude, he would jump in the pool. He would swim up to the thing. He would go down the water slide. And he did it, Benny. I know I exaggerate. I embellish stories for comedic effect. I'm not kidding when I tell you, my wife's in the chat. She can confirm. He went down this slide 200 times yesterday. 200 times. At one point, I looked over. He had a gang of 10 kids, and he was like, "Okay, here's what we're going to do." He's 5. These were like 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. He's like, quiet.
And he's holding court.
Yes. And he's like, "We're going knees and toes on this one. No, we're going knees first. We're going on our bellies." And everyone's like, "Let's go, Taylor." He went down this slide. You couldn't get him inside. Finally, he comes in. He's sunburned as all get out. He cannot see 1 foot in front of him because his eyes are just blurred from chlorine. So I'm putting eye drops in his eyes. He's screaming. He's whining. He's like, "I can't see." Hannah said he just woke. I'm in the hospitality suite. And Hannah said he just woke up. He's sunburned and miserable. I'm like, "Oh my God, dude, this is crazy." It's crazy. But yeah, he had a blast. Bo was easy. Bo wanted to come help me all day. And so he was up here with me. Trying to get the gear connected, listening to every expletive fly out of my mouth as we were trying to get this thing done. But he had the best day. Taylor did, and Bo and I hung out all day and watched the game. And so it was what it was, man. But we've really tried hard.
I remember the days of applying aloe to whimpering children at the end of vacations. All I can say is that when you get back, you're going to need a little vacation from all your vacationing later this week. As for me, I want to thank Dub J in the chat, who said, Ben, great job once again in the anchor position last night. I'm going to be on the anchor desk all week this week for obvious reasons at Channel 10, which does make for some longer days for me, which is fine. But, when you think about it, at the end of the day, 4 hours with you guys here in the morning and then close to 4 hours on the desk of television in the evening. That puts me on the airwaves for almost 8 hours every single day this week. And I thought yesterday went pretty well. I thought we had a good show. Despite your technical difficulties, we managed to get through it, get everybody excited about the trade deadline. I had Kyle Glazer on in the last hour. He was great. It was fine. We worked through it, and then anchoring went really well. And then finally, I'm getting near the end. I've gotten through our 4 o'clock show, the 5 o'clock show, the 6 o'clock show, and we're almost done. The 7 o'clock is close to my last show. I've got the 11 still, but that's going to be later. I get a little break. So I'm almost done with my really marathon day, and I just have a couple of more things to get to. And we get to the lead story, the top of the show at the 7. And for some reason, I made a mistake that I don't know that I have ever made before, a flub that is a first in Ben Higgins' history.
I can't wait for this.
And Paulie has been able to obtain
I have not
it
seen this
from last night's 7 p.m. newscast, right at the top of the show.
ABC 10 News at 7 starts now, featuring Kimberly Hunt, meteorologist Megan Perry, and sports with Ben Higgins.
Well, the quest to add affordable housing in San Diego could come at a cost to local libraries. Good evening, I'm Ben Higgins, in for Kimberly Hunt. Of the 11 sites being considered by the city to build affordable housing, 7 are libraries.
Did you catch it,
ABC
Paulie?
10
I
News
caught
reporter
it.
Laura Acevedo explains.
Woods, can you not hear what?
I don't think
I can't hear it.
Hang on. I was still rolling on it. Give me 1 second.
Hold on.
I want Woods to be able to hear this.
I made a flub of the one thing that I don't think anybody really ever flubs. I mispronounced my own name.
Oh.
Let's see if this works here.
See if he can hear it this time.
And sports with Ben Higgins.
Well, the quest to add affordable housing in San Diego could come at a cost to local libraries. Good evening, I'm Ben Higgins, in for Kimberly Hunt. Of the 11 sites being...
I have no.
You read it. You read it all together.
I did.
Good evening, I'm Ben Higgins, in for Kimberly Hunt.
Bennigan's.
Every other word.
Bennigan's?
Every
Bennigan's.
other word I said perfectly, like all day, all night. Like got through an entire day, almost 8 hours,
But had
without
trouble with your
really
name.
any mistakes. And then right at the end,
Good evening, I'm Ben Higgins, in for Kimberly Hunt.
I can't get my own name out.
That made this all worth it. Bennigan's.
Good evening, I'm Ben Higgins, in for Kimberly Hunt.
That's so good, dude. That's so good. Bennigan's.
Higgins, in for... I'm Ben Higgins, in for Kimberly.
No idea why I did that. None at all.
I'm Ben
I
Higgins, in...
noticed, I noticed that you did the you didn't do the infinity wiener cover.
No.
You did the
Clasped.
big hole. Yeah, clasp, but with still a hole for your penis. Is what there's like a it's not the V, but there was like a clasp and then like a penis hole right around your that's just
Still-
around the tip.
Still don't know where to put my hands. I have no
I-
idea. There's no right answer to that. Where to put your
Can
hands
we-
on television?
Would it be uncouth for them to bring you a podium and you could just use a podium and just have a podium everywhere you went, so you could just rest
So,
your hands
I will
on the
say,
side
like,
of the podium?
The majority of the time I'm sitting at the desk. I can have my hands right on the table. That is fine. I have no problem with that. That's pretty easy. It's when I start standing that the true doubt creeps into my mind about where to put my hands and arms as I am standing by myself. Every single time I have tried so many different positions, hands at the sides, hands behind my back.
Whoa.
We know.
I've tried everything, and I just cannot figure out where to put my hands when I'm standing on television.
You even do the Luke Duke thumbs in the jeans.
Sure,
or
try that
thumbs
too.
in the pants. Have you ever just tried crossing your arms over your chest like you're going down a water slide?
Good evening, I'm Ben Higgins, in for Kimberly Hunt.
Imagine your hands like on my hips, like
Yeah, it's on your hips. like a sassy little girl. Maybe that can be your incorporator. We give you things to do with your hands, and you have to do them on the news. And they're like, "Why is that guy pretending to be stuck on a ladder? Why is he delivering? Why is he doing Frozen Han Solo? And on Bro, it is unbelievable.
Good evening. I'm Ben Higgins.
That is just fantastic
Thank
stuff.
you for that.
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, thank you for that. That was brilliant. I did. It was, all the technical things, notwithstanding, I was able to spend a lot of time on Twitter and being on my phone and following along, which I thought was a really, really interesting trade deadline in Major League Baseball. Really interesting. There's a lot of great storylines. There's a lot of things that didn't happen that I think we all thought were going to happen. Not just for the Padres, but I was riveted all day with the trade deadline. So let's get after it next, Benny.
Let's talk about it. Give our thoughts on just our impressions of what the Padres did. Are we happy with it? We will get to all of that coming up next, and we will then get into the disappointment at the end of the night, which was the Padres losing the opening game to a critical series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Just cannot figure out Brandon Pfaadt. The guy just owns the San Diego Padres lineup, and they can't seem to do anything about it. So we will talk about all of that, all the implications for the rest of the season, what the other contenders did as well. Set the menu for our Tuesday edition of Ben and Woods, all coming up next. Glad to have Woods sort of with us from Hawaii, last day up in Oahu. It's Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, broadcasting live from our Bill House studios. We know how on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. First, though, when your baseball team is in the hunt, as we know, every decision matters. Preparation shows up. Mistakes get magnified. That's the same mindset people need to have heading into retirement. Once you're close, there's less room for error. Market downturns, inflation, or poor timing can have a bigger impact. That's why Trajan Wealth helps people prepare before it's crunch time. TRAJANwealth.com. Their fiduciary advisors help build income and investment strategies designed to weather volatility so you're not reacting under pressure. They're local, independent, right here in San Diego with offices at Liberty Station, Carlsbad, and Escondido. So if retirement is getting closer, and closer can be 15 or 20 years away, now's the time to be proactive. You can start by calling 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1. Or just go online to TRAJANwealth.com. Trajan Wealth. Plan smarter, dream bigger. Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Actual client, paid advertisement, additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com. He just, here, I'll show you a little.
Just a little.
Please don't.
Just a little bit. What hurts on you?
Nothing at all.
A little bit.
Not that now.
So let's say
whatever you're about to touch is the only thing.
Let's say
It's gonna hurt.
Right?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Pretend your knee hurts.
Pretend your knee
It's going to in a second.
right here.
Oh, that is not pleasant.
Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this view. This speakeasy with this cocktail. Hey, could you make that too? The spa with this. Ah. And this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort, now open.
Ben and Woods brought to you by David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Didn't really, get a chance to talk to you guys yesterday. Are we all happy with what the Padres did at the trade deadline? I feel like if I'm being fair, landing two of the top five starting pitchers and not giving up Ethan Salas was what I was hoping for at the start of the day. So I think I'm pretty happy. Could they have added a bat? Sure. They did not get to the point where they added another, left-handed hitter to the lineup. AJ Preller said they just didn't line up on anything, but ultimately mission accomplished for your San Diego Padres yesterday, correct? Or do we have disagreement?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. I mean, you needed arms, and you got arms. I don't know. I was unmoved, I think, a little bit by Robbie Ray. Maybe just the initial return of Mendez, who again is got some control issues. He throws really hard. I from everybody I talked to yesterday, they said, yeah, man, like projects as a reliever. If they can get him figured out, he's going to be a decent piece for the back of their bullpen, which, again, I'm not too worried about it because AJ finds those guys all the time. Excuse me. And then, but the kid, the 17-year-old, Juniel Hernandez, that's the one that I was really interested in because they had really just signed him for, I think, $1.4 million. I was texting with our pal Clark Fahrenholt, and he's like, man, this kid is so toolsy. And I thought to myself, for a 2-month rental of Robbie Ray, I wonder if just a Mendez would have gotten it done, but they did get them to pay down half the salary. So, I mean, it's not a lot of money at all, really, to be honest with you. But I thought maybe, a slight overpay for Robbie Ray. But again, then I started thinking all day, does this mean I don't have to see Griffin Canning pitch? if that's the case, then I think that's a great move. And then, of course, the late addition of Casey Mize, that actually made me really happy. I was happy about Casey Mize. He's a dog, dude, and I was excited to get him. Would have loved to get a bat, like you said, but Gage Workman he's a bat. He is technically a bat.
Whoa. Call him by his name. It's Gage Tater Workman.
Tater Workman.
Amazing.
Tater is got some raw power too. But honestly, I found the first one. I was like, slight overpay, but again, I don't have to watch Griffin Canning.
I mean, I looked at it as he slides in before the Casey Mize trade. He's your number 2. Yep. Like, it's not even really debatable right now. Today,
he may be our number 1.
He may be your number 1.
Yeah.
I can't complain about that. I would have probably criticized myself in any prior trade deadline for getting mad at the team, at the Padres, trading a guy that I had literally never heard of before that day. So I can't sit here and say that I would have been upset about it yesterday because, again, I'm like, bro, he's in the Dominican Summer League. I saw a lot of people upset about it, and I go, 90% of you learned about this guy today. Don't pretend you're upset. We're getting a guy that can pitch, this week for the Padres as they're 2 games out and trying to get into the playoffs. I am more than okay with it.
I think, anybody would have liked to see, someone with control beyond this season. 2 rentals is not usually the A.J. Preller game plan at the trade deadline. He's always swung bigger and brought in guys who help the Padres seasons beyond just the rental season. But really, none of those guys, for the most part, were traded at the deadline. Most of the Hunter Green types, they ended up staying with their original teams, and no one was able to make those deals for guys with control beyond this year.
Well, and I thought, people made the point too, and I thought it was smart that with the uncertainty of the offseason, you're trading better prospects for more years of control when you don't know if there's going to be a season next year and you could lose a year. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was kind of the right pivot for AJ Preller to go for guys that were rentals. And again, at the end of the day, man, like I laid there in bed and I thought, all right, Mason Miller's still here. Adrian Morahone is still here. And Ethan Salas is still here. Cruz Schoolcraft is still here. I'm pretty happy with how it all played out. Excited to see these guys pitch. Desperately need them to pitch. And pitch well, if they want to make the playoffs. Last night was not a great start to the quote-unquote second half, post the PTD, the post-trade deadline. Not a great start at all. But, you got 3 more games against these guys that you can really make a difference.
And I think when you look at the moves the other contenders made, Padres got better. Cubs definitely got better. They were very aggressive at the deadline, picking up Kevin Gossman, Clay Holmes, Tyrone Taylor, Braxton Garrett, Ryan Zephyrdjian for their bullpen from the Angels.
Yeah.
They look like they're very committed to, at the very least, holding on to that top wild card spot or maybe even trying to chase down the Milwaukee Brewers in the NL Central. So they got better. The Phillies got better as well with the addition of Luis Arraez, and they also added to their bullpen with Brooks Raley from the Mets. D-backs didn't do a lot. I think the only move I saw was picking up Lars Nootbaar from the Cardinals, who was connected to the Padres for a hot second before he ended up going to the Diamondbacks. But they weren't super aggressive. So you feel like if there is one playoff spot really up for grabs, the teams behind the Padres didn't do much. The Marlins, I think, did more shedding than acquiring. Pirates didn't make giant moves. They added a couple of relievers. That's it. So I feel like that last spot is very much up for grabs, but you want to make sure you beat the Diamondbacks and not give them so much hope here. So these next 3 games, really important. And remember, I believe the Padres don't play the Diamondbacks again until the last 3 days of the season at Petco Park. Now, you got those games in your pocket. Someone texted me and said, the Padres have to win 3 out of 4 in this series, right? And I go, no. I mean, you split 4 on the road, stay a game behind, and know you still got those 3 in your pocket for the last 3 in the season where you can then win that series, win the tiebreaker. You're okay, but if you drop 3 of 4 or all 4 to the Arizona Diamondbacks, you've dug yourself a really big hole. So not a great way to start the series by getting, nothing done offensively. And Michael King, we'll talk about it, his performance, but it was very 2026 Michael King like. Not completely ineffective. 3 runs has been enough for the Padres to win in a lot of games for their starters recently, but it wasn't yesterday, and it was a frustrating way to end, Woods, what I thought was mostly a very good day for the San Diego Padres organization.
Yeah, I thought so too, man. And you know, one really bad pitch from King gets hit out of the ballpark by Tim Tawa. Tim Tawa is the new Charlie Blackmon, is the new Mickey Moniak. For the Diamondbacks / Rockies. It's pretty brutal. Just a little hanger, man. That kind of, I think it was a hanging cutter. It looked very Randy Vasquez like, and was just pounded out of the yard.
Not even sure it was on the plate. It might have been a little off the inside, but he just dropped his head on it and kept it fair, which, you know, I think Michael King was more mad, not about the execution. He kind of said that was actually what I was trying to do. I was mad about the pitch choice. I should not have called that one. I actually did put it where I wanted to, and he was just ready for it and turned on it. But it wasn't so much that pitch. When you play with fire, as Michael King did his entire start, you're going to get burned at some point. And, you know, big league hitter, someone's going to run into one. Unfortunately, the Padres had a few chances and did not run into one. They came close, too. Bunch of times. I mean, obviously Jake had a home run robbed. I thought Tatis got the first pitch of the game. I thought was a home run. Died at the warning track. Manny had 2 that I thought might have been out. Xander had one. You had about 20 feet to 5 balls. Padres have 5 home runs, but ultimately they just didn't get anything done. So now you're sitting 2 games back of both Arizona and Philadelphia, and you can't really afford to lose the ground you've picked up now over the last, 8 to 9 days where you've played well, you've moved up in the standings. You don't want to give it all up in the next couple of days and have to start all over from where you were again 10 days ago. That would be incredibly frustrating. Yeah, and incredibly. And I'm I encourage bad night from the top of the order. They've been playing very well. No one got a hit in the first 4 batters in the Padres lineup yesterday. You're not going to win a lot of games when that happens.
No, you're just not. But all those guys have been playing better. Again, squared some balls up, not super. The approach, I guess, against Fott last night was swing early, swing often, because that guy was out there rolling 5 pitch innings. Like I looked up in the 7th, he was at 79 pitches, and I said, all right, this is the tale of 2 teams and 2 different approaches last night, because they waited Michael King out. They got him in deep counts. His pitch count went through the roof. And then Arizona brought that fireballer in that was just challenging Padres hitters with 100-mile-an-hour heaters, man. Like, here it is. See if you can hit it. It was a bit humbling yesterday.
Yeah,
sure.
I've got a few more thoughts on the game. We'll get to that in our Padres crap up in just a second. Let's quickly set the menu for what we've got for you here on the Tuesday edition of Ben and Woods. We will continue to talk about the Major League Baseball trade deadline and the implications of yesterday's move. We'll have DDT. Don't do this in our 720 segment. MLB reach around. There were some games yesterday in Major League Baseball. I kind of feel like the trade deadline would be a great day to have nobody play. Just have it be all about the trades and not have to worry about actual action on the field. I don't know if that Major League Baseball has ever considered doing that, but I wouldn't mind if it was just a complete day off for everybody. Maybe you can't get the schedule to work, for 162 games if you have an entire day off in late July or early August. But anyway, we'll talk about all the implications. And then in our 8 o'clock hour, right after Take on Woods, Jesse Agler will join us on an Incorporator Tuesday from the Valley of the Sun. We'll talk to the Padres radio broadcaster, give him his Incorporator word for Game 2 of the series tonight. 9 o'clock, we'll have our Randall Report and get you ready for Game 2 of the series tonight, which will be Randy Vasquez on the mound. No word that I have heard yet about when Robbie Ray and Casey Mize will make their Padres debuts. Both, I believe, have enough rest that they could go at any time as soon as they arrive with the team and are up to speed on everything they need to be up to speed on. So I would imagine, guys, that they would like to get both of those guys in the rotation as soon as possible.
Mize's last start was Saturday the 25th.
Yeah, they scratched him because they knew he could be traded. So the Tigers were being very careful with him. And then obviously we know when Robbie Ray's last start was. He shoved against the Padres on Thursday, which would make today his normal turn in the rotation. But doesn't feel like we're going to see either of them if Randy Vasquez is pitching today. So one more, at least, pitching chaos game that the Padres really need to find a way to win. Otherwise, they'll kind of be backs against the wall for the last 2 games of this series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And they're going up against the Diamondbacks' most effective pitcher tonight in Eduardo Rodriguez, which also is a little problematic here to start this series.
Yeah, man. I maybe knowing, not a punt per se, but maybe knowing it's Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. He's been pitching so well this year. Decent time to get some innings out of Randy. Get ready for the reinforcements that should be coming tomorrow, hopefully.
And you can use everybody aggressively because you're going to have to make 2 moves.
Yeah. When
you activate both Robbie Ray and Casey Mize. Yeah. I don't know who those are going to be. I mean, Griffin Canning.
Don't you?
Probably. I would think JP Sears is just kind of like a not as good version of Robbie Ray as Robbie Ray is. So I don't think you need both of those guys. So those would be my guesses as to who will be. JP has options. You can send him down. Don't know what happens to Griffin Canning, but I don't think any of us is overly concerned about what happens to Griffin Canning. So those would be my guesses. No. But we'll find out in the next day or so what happens. We may, I know Paulie's reached out. He's traveling today to join the team in Arizona, but try to hook up with AJ Preller.
Good morning, guys.
Was on the Zoom with him yesterday, did get those thoughts, so we can discuss what he had to say, but always good to hear it directly from the president of baseball operations himself, so we'll let you know if we're able to line that up. All right, let's check traffic, then we'll come back with our Padres crap up. A few more thoughts on last night's 5-1 loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's your latest traffic update.
Getting crowded out of National City into San Diego on the northbound 805 from Division to Imperial Avenue. Joey Vlasny with Odyssey San Diego traffic.
This report is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
Before your next summer road trip, stop by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. With no appointment needed, it's an easy way to help keep your vehicle running at its best. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Coupons at SoCalOilChange.com.
It's a shame if they lose.
You got a problem.
How did things play out in yesterday's game?
Supremely stupid.
It's time for the Padres
crap up
with Ben and Woods. Brought to you by Hamul Casino Resort. Hey player, here's something to cheer you up. The rooftop pool's open, day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
This game has got to come to an end.
First pitch is launched in the air deep down the left field line. This one is way back and gone over the Diamondback bullpen. And Tawa, who hit a grand slam against the Padres in Mexico City. It's a 3-run homer here, and Arizona's got the first 3 runs of the night. And Campusano swings, hits it on the ground to the left side. Arenado has it in front of Perdomo, spins, throws to first, it gets away from Tawa. France will come in to score. Padres are on the board, it's 3-1. Fields back, the 0-1 pitch. McCann hits it on a line into left field and a base hit. Arenado will come in to score as that rolls all the way to the wall. Tawa's at third, he'll be held. It's an RBI double for James McCann, and the Diamondbacks have added on. It's 4-1. Now the pitch, and Barossa swings, hits it in the air to center field, straight away, plenty deep to get Tawa home. Merrill makes the catch, the throw comes in to Xander Bogaerts. It's a sac fly for Jorge Barossa, and a 5-1 Arizona lead in the 8th. One pitch, Rengifo chops it on the ground to the left side. On the backhand, Perdomo has it. Long throw to first is in time, and a great play by the Arizona shortstop to end this game. A 1-2-3 ninth for Brandon Garcia, and the Diamondbacks behind 6 2/3. Excellent innings from Brandon Pfaadt take game 1 of this 4-game series by a final of 5-1.
Yeah, he's thrown the ball as good as I've ever seen him, and he's thrown it well against us in particular. We have a tough time against his pitch mix. He's been pitching us really well, keeping us off balance, mixing things up. We just had a tough time with him tonight.
For all of Michael's kind of like grinding and all that, he paid for like a walk and 1 pitch, right?
Right.
What'd you see?
Yeah, I think, it was one of those things where they made him work, and eventually he made a mistake. It was kind of how that was. They played the game of baseball really well, versus him tonight. A lot of deep counts, a lot of long innings. The first inning in particular, he came out with really good stuff, but they still figure out a way to get 32 pitches out of him in the first inning, and that just wears you down as a pitcher, and it's hard to, get through the game and still make a lot of great pitches, especially with, the traffic that he had. And, Tawa made a good swing, and that was kind of the decider of the game.
I know we tend to, as baseball fans, blame our guys for not coming through. I do want to give credit to the Arizona Diamondbacks yesterday. As Craig Stammen was talking about, you could see in the first inning when they were facing Michael King. Well, first of all, Brandon Pfaadt, as you said, Woods, filling up the strike zone, gets that first out on the first pitch from Tatis, and then you could tell he threw the next pitch right down the middle to Jake. But Jake Cronenworth's, of course, afraid to swing because if he pops out, then you've got 2 pitches, 2 outs. So every time that happened, and the Padres did swing early and make an out, Pfaadt always followed with a quick strike to start the next guy who was afraid to make another out on the first pitch. It was a really good pitching game plan. And then conversely, Arizona's batters, I thought, a lot of good plate discipline. And Michael King threw a lot of pitches, especially early, that were very close to the strike zone, but not like you don't want to challenge and lose your challenge because you might be wrong. You could see Luis Campusano going back there kind of like thinking hard, like, do I want to do it? No, I shouldn't do it. It's too early in the game to do it. But every time that happened and they laid off a pitch that was an inch high, an inch outside, the pitch count just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. And he walks a couple guys, and, he got out of those jams. But the Padres then had a wearied Michael King versus an absolutely fresh Brandon Pfaadt, who was just rolling through the first early innings. It was really, really good work by the Diamondbacks at the plate. Even though they didn't cash in, they did a really good job of making Michael King work in those early innings.
I think it's been the story of Michael King's year, man. He is the Padres' unquestionable ace, and it's, again, it's kind of like the prospects we traded yesterday. Yeah, you got our number 2 prospect and our number 9 prospect and our number 7 prospect, but we have the 30th ranked prospect system in baseball. So how much are they really worth, right? It's like Michael King. He's our ace. Okay, well, I mean, that's not that tough to do with the staff that we've had all year. But, man, I don't know what it's been. The word cute gets to mind, comes to mind sometimes, like tries to get a little bit too fine, a little bit too cute, instead of just getting out there and letting it rip and see how far they can hit it, at this point, because he's in deep counts all the time. All the time he's in deep counts. Too many walks for this entire staff this year. Kind of got to go back to the drawing board with some of these guys. And, again, when you don't have that insane 97 plus to rely on to get you out of stuff, Benny, it's kind of how you have to pitch. We have a lot of guys that pitch with grit and guile, and instead of the big power arms. So,
well, Brandon Pfaadt doesn't have a power arm either.
No,
but
he doesn't.
And while he has always been very good against the Padres, he's actually been just good lately. 6-1 now.
Yeah,
I think his ERA is under 2 in his last 6 starts since coming off the IL. So he's been a real lift to the Arizona Diamondbacks starting rotation when they have needed it. Meanwhile, we were just talking about what roster moves may be coming as the Padres need to add Ray and Mize. Wandy Peralta. And I want to give Wandy a ton of credit for how he pitched the first 3.5 months of the season. He has been struggling lately, and maybe he just needs a break, whether it's an injury, that they will discover today, and give
hamstring's a little tight.
Yeah, something that just isn't quite right. They can give him 15 days just to settle, because I do think they will need Wandy at some point in September and October to get a ground ball in a big situation against a left-hander, because he's really good at that. But he's been giving up runs like every time he's been going out since I would say early to mid-July. And at some point, you just can't keep throwing him out there and turning 2-run games into 4-run games like he did yesterday in the 9th inning. And with roster spots needed, perhaps this might be a time to give Wandy a little bit of a break. I will trust Ruben Niebla to have a better idea of what's going on with Wandy right now, but that's my observation just in the last few weeks.
What's his ERA as a starter this year?
Wandy as an opener?
Yeah.
I don't know that he's given up a run. It might be 0. But most of our openers' ERAs are 0. I mean, they've done really well with openers, whether it's Wandy or Brad Glay or Kyle Hart. who they've used, maybe even a couple of other guys. They've had a lot of success in the first inning. Now, they don't always have success when they bring in the next guy, the bulk guy, that's been a little hit or miss. You've had some good outings and some bad outings with baseball pitching chaos with the second guy. But the first guy, for the most part, has done their job quite effectively to get the Padres, off. But it wasn't the start of the game that hurt the Padres yesterday. Michael King was scoreless through 3 innings. It was just the offense was never able to get going. It's such a difference, too. When you get early offense, and we've seen it, as the Padres won 8-9, that it just changes the game entirely for the San Diego Padres. And when they don't, it's a completely different equation. Then you have to face the guy who's throwing 100 out of the bullpen as they're trying to protect a lead. Much tougher game to win than the one where you jump out to an early 2-0, 3-1, 5-2 lead. And even if the other team does come back, then you still have your back-end high-leverage guys. Padres do come up with late offense in a lot of games to win it. But, yesterday,
I was just going to say, yeah. Nope, nothing. Had a chance. Yeah. Had chances late.
All right, let's take a quick timeout. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi. One price, 5 years, guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. Let's talk about the rest of the trade deadline moves yesterday. It was a very busy day in Major League Baseball. That and more coming up next with Bennett Woods on 97.3 The Fan. of Jesse Agler joining us at 8:35. I'll guess on Ben Woods appear on our SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. Got Don't Do This, MLB Reach Around coming up later this hour, but I wanted to continue the discussion of the trade deadline. We all felt like the Padres did pretty well in acquiring 2 starting pitchers, despite having the 30th ranked farm system in baseball. A.J. Preller always seems to find a way. We talked a lot yesterday about the Dodgers picking up Tarek Skubal over the weekend. They made another move yesterday, which had a lot of people scratching their head. They picked up left-handed pitcher Chris Bubic in a trade with the Kansas City Royals. Is that how you pronounce it? It's Bubic?
Say it again.
Bubic? Or is it Bubic?
I don't know. I just wanted you to say it over and over and over.
What do you think his nickname was?
Chris?
Boobs.
Booby?
The Boobster.
Hey, Booby.
Now, he's injured. He's, I believe, a free agent at the end of the season. There's no guarantee he's coming back, but this is the kind of thing the Dodgers can do. I mean, with their abundance of riches, they can do things that other teams can't. They just have spots for guys like, hey, if he comes back and makes 2 starts for us at the end of the season, fine. It might help us win 1 game, and that's all that it really matters. If you're a Los Angeles Dodgers fan, you're trying to win a 3rd straight World Series, which was kind of part of my rant yesterday, that I went off about how the Dodgers are not infallible. They make tons of mistakes, just like every other team, but they can just paper over them so easily the way other teams can't. And I got a little involved. Paulie apparently posted that rant yesterday on our YouTube stream.
Oh, boy.
And you know what happened next,
when I
of
say
course.
that
We're rich.
posting an anti-Dodgers video to the Ben and Woods YouTube channel, it's like catnip for idiots. Catnip for absolute morons. We do it like we talk about it on our show. It's clear proof they only watch the repurposed videos. I don't think they actually watch our show very often, because we've mentioned many times that we're really just it's a social experiment at this point. Put out any anti-Dodgers clip on our YouTube feed and just see what happens. Well, we got a good amount of views and a bunch of comments to keep it active in everyone's algorithm. Most recent comment here, and this program is sponsored by Kleenex, helps prevent more tears to be poured. This guy says, love the cry fest. Dodgers got Skubal this year because of their farm system. This season, it's because they have a better farm system and could offer more. This guy says, Ben forgot to mention 2 rings in 2 years. The tears are lovely. Keep them coming. Let's
They're a very original fan base.
Scared money don't make money. Dodgers decisions lead to World Series. Guys, it's okay. Let them be this way. They've been traumatized by the Dodgers and are lashing out.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, they enjoy their victory laps, and they've been having lots of victory laps lately.
3 grown-ass men crying because their favorite team signed Xander Bogaerts and re-extended their fearless clubhouse cancer Manny Machado through age 40. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Hey, man. It is what it is. I mean, obviously getting Chris Bubic doesn't make or break that team. Didn't have to give up anything for him, just a prospect. Now they have plenty of prospects as well, because they never have to trade them ever, because they just buy free agents. So that's kind of the when you say an embarrassment of riches, yeah, I mean it's all cyclical. They do a lot of things well, certainly, but yeah, man, having the ability to pay with luxury tax, Kyle Tucker to hit 7th for you and pay him over $100 million, including luxury tax. Not every team can do that. You know that.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm not surprised. I'm glad I wasn't in the comments, but I'm not surprised they came. I thought the most interesting division in baseball yesterday at the trade deadline was the AL East, which is still led by the Tampa Bay Rays, who were somewhat active. They picked up Freddie Peralta, of course, from the Mets. They added reliever Tyler Wells from the Orioles and added catcher Liam Hicks from the Miami Marlins. But the Red Sox and the Yankees both swung a lot bigger, including maybe the biggest trade of the day yesterday. The Red Sox acquiring catcher Adley Rutschman from the Baltimore Orioles. Also picked up reliever Eric Miller from the Giants and traded San Diego's own Marcelo Meyer in that deal. Surprised a lot of people that they offloaded one of their top prize prospects and top draft picks for just a reliever at the end of the day, but apparently they just were ready to move on. But acquiring Adley Rutschman Woods was something that had been talked about, but still almost surprising to see the Baltimore Orioles actually do that.
I read, honestly, I'll say this, man. I read some of the most moving, not tributes, because everyone's really pissed at Mike Elias, right? The GM of the Orioles. He's been there 8 years or something around there. I think they've made the playoffs, one time, maybe twice. But I read these really touching kind of people pouring their heart out, and they're saying, man, we put up with this. We put up with losing Manny. We put up with losing so-and-so and so-and-so because you promised us it was going to get better. And then Adley, here comes Adley. We tanked to get Adley Rutschman. We got Adley Rutschman. And then he made his debut. I'll never forget that day. And Adley was our guy, and he was supposed to take us to the next level. And then we had our core with Gunnar and Colton and all these guys. And I'm reading through it, man. And these guys are like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Like, you traded Adley to a freaking division rival, the Boston Red Sox. Like, Mike Elias is public enemy number one. Now, I think, in a vacuum, yeah, you're mad you lost a guy that you were counting on to kind of be your franchise cornerstone. But the return that they got back was insane.
A lot of baseball experts said that the Orioles did incredibly well in that deal.
They did incredible. And again, I understand the emotional attachment to a player. I've had him. I've got him. But holy cow, like, the guy's hurt all the time. All the time. He's always injured, and he hasn't performed. They've given him every opportunity to be that guy, and he hasn't done it. And you got one of the better arms coming back from the Red Sox in Anthony Ianson. And you got 5 players back for a guy that now, again, if he gets healthy and terrorizes you for the next decade, you're pretty pissed. But the Orioles were long heralded as the model, the way to do it. And Padres were mocked for trying to win World Series, while the Orioles were lauded for keeping all of their prospects. It hasn't worked.
And you also didn't leave the cupboard bare. You've got Samuel Basallo, who's been terrific as well. So it makes a lot of sense.
You've extended him.
It makes a lot of sense what the Orioles did. Dominic, who's in Baltimore in our YouTube stream, says, local radio has moved on. All Ravens talk this morning. They have forgotten about the Orioles until next spring training, I guess. But the Yankees also made a couple of big moves. Of course, they got Luis Garcia Jr. from the Nationals. He ended up hitting a home run in his Yankees debut yesterday, which was a pretty electric moment. And then the Yankees went on and got clubbed by the Cardinals as Alec Burleson hit 3 home runs. They also picked up Elliot Ramos from the Giants, but they did not get a catcher. I saw some rants this morning from one WFAN host going, it was like incompetence from Brian Cashman to not pick up a catcher. We've seen catching struggles here in San Diego. I think the Yankees have like the 29th ranked catching core. Austin Wells has not been good for them this season, and they really needed help behind home plate and were not able to land anyone at the deadline. So Yankees fans are a little bit up in arms, even though I thought the Luis Garcia Jr. pickup was one of the better moves anyone made at the deadline, and paid dividends right away. So I think that division is, in particular, Woods, going to be very interesting coming down the stretch.
You mentioned they also are calling up Lombard. Did I see that? They're calling him up?
George
I did see that
Jr.
this morning. Yeah, he's getting called up. And then the Blue Jays, who are...
Hang on one sec.
Yeah.
Let me read you. Look, I got a text from my buddy Matty, who is a big Yankee fan. He writes, Yanks effing suck. Cashman is an effing loser. And I said, I said, Brian Cashman has lost the juice. I mean, he has. He's lost the juice, dude. And he said, the Yanks need a catcher, third baseman, shortstop. He goes and gets a first base DH and an outfielder. What are we doing? Just a team of platoons wasting one of the best rotations in baseball every year. Same S every year. And Hal doesn't care because he's still making money hand over fist, slowly selling off the team a couple percentage points here and there. I mean, yeah, that pretty much sums it up, Benny. The Garcia move was really nice. He had a bomb yesterday. It was a cool moment for him, but they ended up getting smoked by Alec Burleson, who is a guy that many thought A.J. Preller should have tried to get. I wonder how hard he went after him. Burleson hit 3 bombs in New York yesterday on trade deadline day.
And then the Blue Jays, I thought, were very smart in that they unloaded the rentals that they needed to in Kevin Gossman and Jeff Hoffman and Dalton Varsho, but also made one of the biggest pickups by acquiring Jose Soriano from the Angels, not really for this season, but for the future. So the American League East, to me, was definitely the division that made the most waves yesterday at the trade deadline.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's the moves that teams don't make, which that's what you don't want, right? Like you don't want to go into you don't want people talking about your trade deadline today going, like my buddy just said, I mean, we needed this, we didn't address it. We needed this, we didn't address it. There's no reason, Ben, for some of these teams to not address the needs that they have. And I understand not wanting to give up Lombard Jr. and things like that for Tarek Skubal, but like there are teams. Aren't the Orioles technically still in a wild card race here, Ben? Too?
Everybody in the American League's in the wild card race.
Everybody in the AL's in the wild card. They
are 2.5 games out.
Okay, yeah, 2.5 games out. And what are we? Two. Yeah, I mean, how furious would you have been yesterday? I would have been fine. I thought holding would have been a fine decision, but I'm actually really happy with how it turned out with the Padres. But yeah, man, you teams like the Braves and things like that, they have just soiled themselves at this trade deadline.
Yeah, the Braves were just kind of working at the margins. I mean, even though they're probably going to cruise into the postseason, are they really going to be a contender based on the small moves that they made yesterday? Tyler Mahle, Lane Thomas, Brent Suter. I mean, they're just kind of picking up on the edges of their roster. Nothing significant for the Braves. Thought the Guardians made some interesting moves, getting Foster Griffin
very interesting.
From the Nationals to bolster their pitching staff on the left-handed side. Nathaniel Lowe from the Reds and Joe Adell from the Angels. I think Cleveland really positioned themselves for a much better run in a weaker American League. I mean, we could see the Guardians in the World Series based on, I think, what they've got now and what they added at the trade deadline for sure.
Well, they traditionally at the deadline the last few years really haven't done much, and it kind of drives the people in Cleveland crazy because they always have good pitching that you're kind of scared of, and for whatever reason they have not been active. But it was nice to see them go out and make some moves yesterday.
So, some thoughts on the trade deadline. We'll see how it all plays out, especially for the San Diego Padres, who really, I mean, they're gambling that Robbie Ray can pitch the way he's pitched the last 2 months. If he does, it's a great trade for the San Diego Padres, even if it's a slight overpay. If he pitches to a sub-2 ERA down the stretch, it's a phenomenal trade by A.J. Preller. If he goes back to being mediocre Robbie Ray, then it's a massive overpay, and you're going to lose him at the end of the season, and we'll say, yeah, that was not a very good move by A.J. Preller. So you're gambling that Robbie Ray keeps his form the rest of the season.
I don't know about massive. I have it as a slight overpay right now. Just slight again.
It's an overpay, not massive, just a bit of an overpay.
A bit of an overpay, which you have to do.
I mean, maybe
like that.
Maybe it's not an overpay at all. You know what I mean? Maybe those guys never make it to the major leagues.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mize seems like a gamer. Again, just a rental, but good makeup, has pitched in the playoffs before.
That's the one that got me excited.
It feels like that is what the Padres needed at the deadline, is two pitchers that are really going to give them a chance. And, the analysis from the national media was pretty kind to the Padres as well. Most of the columns that picked winners and losers had the Padres as a clear winner. I think, in ESPN they wrote, hey, they still have some flaws on this roster, but with these starting pitchers and that bullpen, they get to the playoffs, they could be a very dangerous team once they get to the playoffs. Can they get there? Yeah. I guess we will find out over the next couple of months if the Padres can make it to the postseason. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll get to Don't Do This. When culture change goes overboard, I've got a story for you that involves a fairly notable name in the world of college basketball. We'll get to that and more coming up next. Broadcasting live from our Bill House studios. We know how. It's Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. First, though, if you are looking to lose weight here this summer, it is not too late. You know our weather is going to stay warm for months and months. Wouldn't you like to drop some pounds, up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in the next 60 days? Yeah, you can do it. With SDFatLoss.com, you can lose up to a pound of fat per day. With GLP-1 injections, if you're losing weight, it's oftentimes muscle that lowers your metabolism. With SDFatLoss.com, you're eating real foods. You're eating protein, chicken, steak, like I did when I lost my 40 pounds in 60 days. Get your metabolism right, and then that helps you keep the weight off once you're done with the program and move on to the maintenance phase. They will explain it all for you if you sign up for a free consultation right now at SDFatLoss.com. It's the one program that has ever worked for me. I've kept my weight off for over 3 years. Don't have to exercise to lose the weight either, and you don't have to buy anything extra like shakes or bars or mixes. It's just regular stuff, food from the grocery store that you're already probably eating. You're just going to eat it better at the right times or the right portions that helps you lose weight fast. Again, check it out at SDFatLoss.com, and if you sign up, take $200 off right now as the summer special continues for 97.3 The Fan listeners at SDFatLoss.com. That's SDFatLoss.com. Results may vary.
Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this view. This speakeasy with this cocktail. Hey, could you make that too? This spa with this. Ah. And this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort, now open.
Don't Do This brought to you by Dixie Line Lumber and Home Centers, helping San Diego homeowners and contractors fix it, build it, and enjoy it. Just got confirmation that we will be joined by A.J. Preller, Padres President of Baseball Operations and GM, coming up at 8 o'clock. So get his direct thoughts on the Padres' moves at the trade deadline in about 38 minutes. I will start.
Nice treat.
Yeah, I will start Don't Do This today with a story from the world of college basketball where a few months ago, Boston College hired former Dan Hurley assistant Luke Murray to be their new head coach. Luke Murray, until now, was probably most famous as the son of Bill Murray.
No, I've heard of him.
But
Nice.
College basketball coach trying to turn around a program that has not been good, 72 and 92 in their last 5 seasons. So he decided to implement some culture change at Boston College. And can't argue with that. Things hadn't gone well. So he made the decision that he did not want to bring anybody back that had been associated with the program before. You know, assistant coaches, staffers. He wanted to change everything out. Anybody who traveled with the team was out. So they've been making a lot of hires, and that's a new coach's prerogative. But I guess no one seemed to realize that that also apparently included their longtime radio broadcasters, who found out yesterday that, oh no, that includes you guys as well. You were also fired because you were part of the program with the previous coaches. In fact, 3 or 4 previous coaches,
Like
and we don't want anybody associated.
Booth, like their play-by-play
play-by-play team.
Oh my God.
Got fired
man.
by the coach, and then everyone kind of reacting and go, okay, we get culture change, but the radio play-by-play broadcasters have nothing to do with like setting the
What
culture.
about the guy
for your
selling beer on the concourse? Like, do we need to swap him out?
It may have been overdone in terms of the culture change. And if you're going to let him know, you probably should have let him know a while ago, as opposed to just dropping the bomb, because no one in the athletic department seemed aware that he was so committed that he wanted everybody fired, not just, the people who were directly responsible for the program every day.
And that's a tough look. Yeah, Paulie reminded me of this one this morning that I had seen while I was out here. You guys remember Danry Vasquez was his name. There was a video that emerged years ago, and it was about as violent and disgusting as you could ever see. It came out in 2016.
You thought the Ray Rice video was bad? Like it was.
Dude.
It's horrible.
It's jarring. It was a Tigers prospect at the time. Astros prospect at the time. And there was video of him beating up his girlfriend in a stairwell. And he got suspended from Major League Baseball and has found his way down to the Mexican Baseball League. And the other night, he was involved in a play where I believe he was the base runner.
Yep.
And the guy at third, they got him in a rundown. And the guy at third tagged him and kind of put his arm on his shoulder. Like, hey, like I tagged you and like I'm just going to hold you up here. There was nothing violent or confrontational about it. Well, Danry Vasquez turns and sucker punches this guy, knocks him out.
Like laid him
out, dude. And then starts kicking at the guy's head. Like this guy, kicking at his head.
He gets clotheslined by somebody else.
Yep.
It was
probably showing the video in the
crazy.
YouTube. Crazy ball.
It was like the guy was running, he's chasing him down in a rundown, and then he makes the tag, and then his momentum is still kind of carrying him into Vasquez, and like he just kind of tries to hold him and grab him, like to hold himself up so they don't like keep running into each other, and he just unloads, just left hook or right hook right to the side of the head.
I mean, it's just violent and nasty. And again, man, it's just like, how do guys like this
the contact in the tag was very innocuous. For him to just lose his mind like that. I mean, there are some guys who just have uncontrollable tempers. And even what they view, even as the slightest of provocation, set them off. And that is jarring video right there.
He's a Toro. I had no idea that he was in TJ, but yeah, it was nasty, dude. Signed years ago for $1.2 million. He was just 16 years old at the time. Completely blew his entire career. And yeah, dude, he's lost his mind.
Yeah, that guy
man.
needs help and
terrible.
should not be playing organized baseball anytime soon for sure. All right, finally, how about some positivity? A little do this on a Tuesday.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
And congratulations to Sweetwater Valley Little League. Over the weekend, they captured the Southern California state tournament title, beating Encino 9-0 in the championship game on Sunday, which means they have advanced to the Final Four in San Bernardino. The Southern California champs, also the Northern California, Hawaii, and Arizona. One of those four teams, and I would imagine that Sweetwater Valley has a really good chance here, will advance to the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. It's been a few years since we've had a San Diego team make it. Obviously, we've had a few big-time success stories from Chula Vista, like East Lake and Parkview over the years. Maybe Sweetwater Valley will be the next team to capture our local hearts and make it all the way. Their tournament starts this coming Sunday when they take on the Northern California champions from San Ramon Valley. If they win that one, they move into the winner's bracket. Could be just 3 wins away from advancing to Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So good luck to the kids from Sweetwater Valley Little League down in Bonita. And that is Don't and Do This for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
I was wondering yesterday, if they do advance, will I make my 5th trip out to Williamsport, Pennsylvania in my career? It's been a while, but we've covered it since we've had the championship games on ABC before, and I've gone out. Some of my favorite work that I've ever done getting to cover the Little League World Series. Not easy to get to.
How's the Wi-Fi out there?
That's a good question. Hopefully,
Is that Philadelphia, and then how far of a drive?
About 5.5 hour drive once you fly to Philadelphia.
Oh,
yeah, it's
my God.
It is pretty remote. You can fly a little closer if you go to like Harrisburg, and that's like a couple hours, but that's a small airport, and there's not a lot of flights that are available to get there. So it is definitely not easy to get to. But once you get there, you just drive into this bucolic valley, and it's just green and trees everywhere, and then the stadium opens up below you like you see it on the road with the light standards and the stands, and it's like this is like Magic Kingdom for kids baseball. It is so absolutely incredible. So hopefully we can get another local team advancing and representing all the way in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. All right, when we come back, of course, more baseball talk. We can get to our MLB reach around as we get ready to interview A.J. Preller coming up at 8 o'clock. Special edition of our management report, post-trade deadline edition, all coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. He just, here, I'll show you a little. Just a little. Please don't.
Just a little bit. What hurts on you?
Nothing at all.
A little bit.
Not that now.
So let's say
whatever you're about to touch is the only thing.
Let's say
it's gonna hurt.
Right?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Pretend your knee hurts.
Pretend your knee
It's going to in a second.
right here.
Oh, that is not pleasant.
Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this view. This speakeasy with this cocktail. Hey, could you make that too? The spa with this. Ah. And this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort, now open.
So caught up in the trade deadline yesterday. I wonder if you guys saw the intriguing news about SDFC. Welcome back. It's
yes.
Ben Woods, brought to you by David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. I did not see it reported locally, but in The Athletic last night, a tweet and a little story that SDFC is allowing the LA Galaxy permission to negotiate with Chucky Lozano about a potential, at least, loan that would at least temporarily get Chucky off the books. And maybe SDFC would have to pay some of his salary down, but to end this kind of long saga of unending, Chucky's on the team, but he's not on the team. He's working out on the side, but he has no future with SDFC. They've already added, of course, a new designated player when they assigned Elias Ashuri last week, which means they're really totally moving on from the Chucky Lozano decision. They just didn't have a place for him to go. They couldn't find a place, but now it looks like Chucky is at least willing to possibly go up the road to Los Angeles and play for the Galaxy for an undetermined amount of time. But that's an interesting development in an ongoing story here for our MLS club.
Yeah, it feels like it's something that could definitely come back and bite us in the ass down the road, right? Like up to LA, we'll see.
Sure,
see,
it feels like
happens.
I mean, you have no leverage here in this situation. Chucky has held you hostage. Chucky Lozano has held SDFC hostage. They thought,
and you've held him hostage too.
That's true. It's a standoff.
It's a standoff.
They
That's
felt
exactly what it is.
They felt like early in the year Chucky would want to play somewhere so he could, impress the Mexican national team and hopefully earn a spot on the World Cup roster. And Chucky said, no, I'm good. I will just sit here and collect my money. And if you can play, you play me if you want. If not, I will just show up to my minimum amount of time that you need me here to continue to pay me. And you do what you want to do. And then SDFC went, oh, okay. Well, I guess, we have already made our decisions. So now we're in this really tough spot where we have no leverage whatsoever. Everyone knows we are not going to play Chucky Lozano, and we are paying him a massive amount of money. So at some point, you got to figure teams like the LA Galaxy are going to come sniffing around like, hey, well, if he's interested in coming here and you'll pay for a chunk of his salary, we'll take a talent on like that. And, undeniably a talented player. We'll see if this finds a new home for Chucky Lozano and SDFC can move on from this early chapter in their history.
Carlos says putting the blame on him is crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, he did something, right? And then Carlos says this is all on the GM and manager.
That's not true. It's not all on anybody.
If he hadn't done or said whatever he did or said, he would be playing for SDFC. They paid him a fortune. They didn't pay him a fortune to hold him hostage or to not have him play. I mean, there's got to be accountability for Chucky Lozano as well. And I think maybe that's part of the problem is that, there hasn't been at this point. But, this is a fair point. Chris says you shouldn't have shown your hand before having a plan in place. Agreed. That's maybe bad strategy. But at the end of the day, man, like if everything had just been copacetic and he was just out there gaming up for the team every time, I don't think we'd have this problem.
Yeah, as I understand the timeline, early on, before they even hired Tyler Heaps as sporting director, they had already made the decision to splash, hey, we need a big name for our new team, and they signed Chucky Lozano.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Tyler Heaps comes in and puts together this system and, Mikey Varas and everyone in place, and as they start going, they find that Chucky is a great, talented player, but not really working well within the system that they have created. So they try to move on from him. And then obviously, Chucky had his own reaction, probably one that wasn't great. Locker room incident. We still don't know all the details, but, some sort of screaming match with coaches in the locker room and, disciplined, was suspended last year. And they just made the decision that, we're just not going to have you part of the team. We have our plan. We're sticking with it. I don't blame SDFC for that, but they certainly made a bad decision to bring him in the first place.
We knew even as casuals that this was a possibility, that he had this bit of a reputation to him when they signed him. I think you're right. Like the whole not having a plan, maybe that wasn't the smartest thing. And I agree 100%. But that also just tells me, at least without having any idea of what happened, and we've asked around, I have no idea what happened. It tells me that it was bad enough that they're like, we don't even care. We're just gonna cut this off at the knees right now, and we're just gonna announce it.
Yep.
So we'll see if this is the ending of the saga for SDFC, and I'm sure we'll get more from Darren Smith on Friday when he joins us, and we can talk more about it. They actually play on Thursday, opening the Leagues Cup down in Mexico against Club America. So they'll have a game on Thursday, and we'll react with Darren and talk about Chucky on Friday. But let's get back to some baseball. We got AJ Preller at the top of the hour. Right now, though, let's take a look at the rest of the results on a Monday in our MLB Reach Around. They're doing the Reach Around. They're doing the Reach Around. Everybody's doing the Reach Around. Been plenty of days lately where it felt like the Padres got all the help they could possibly get. Like every other National League playoff contender lost, and then they lost again. It just happened consistently. Well, yesterday was the perfect storm of nothing good happening for the Padres. They lose their game to the Diamondbacks, so they drop a game right there to Arizona. The Philadelphia Phillies fell behind early to the Washington Nationals 3-0. Only to turn it around on a grand slam by Derek Hill and a Bryce Harper home run as they rallied for a 6-3 win. So they also gained a game on the Padres and are still tied with the Diamondbacks now 2 games ahead of the Padres. The Dodgers couldn't help out by beating the Cubs. Justin Robleski allowed 7 earned runs on 4 home runs as the Dodgers suffered their 4th straight loss, which normally makes us happy. But ultimately, if you're a Padres fan, you'd rather see the Cubs losing in a situation like this. But no, they win 10-5 over the Dodgers. The Brewers couldn't help anybody out. The Pirates beat the Brewers 4-3, and they climbed back to 500. So they're just game and a half behind the Padres right now, opener to a big 4-game series in the National League Central. And we mentioned the Cardinals-Yankees game earlier. Luis Garcia Jr. debuts in New York with a home run, but Alec Burleson goes deep 3 times, drives in 6 as the Cardinals rally for a 13-7 win. So I think they're a game under 500, just 2 games back of the Padres, so not completely out of it either. So any team that the Padres potentially wanted to lose yesterday, they all won.
Yeah, it's killer.
Not exactly a perfect day. Elsewhere in baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays snapped the Houston Astros 6-game winning streak with a 3-1 win. Of course, we will see the Houston Astros coming to Petco Park this weekend for 3 games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a little interleague play. The Tampa Bay Rays got a pair of home runs from Junior Caminero. He now has 32 on the season. They beat the Rockies 13-9. I thought what was interesting about this game, the Rockies gave up 13 runs. You know how many pitchers they used?
How many?
2.
Whoa.
Just feels like the ultimate give up. And it's not like their bullpen was trash because Kyle Freeland threw a complete game on Sunday. And then they just said, you know what? We'll just let these 2 guys go out there and just wear it today against the Tampa Bay Rays. Maybe because of the trades.
Wow.
They had sent some relievers. They might not have had a full complement yesterday, possibly, for the game. I was just shocked. I'm going 13, 2 pitchers the entire game. They just let them both just absorb tons of runs in that one. And then
I like your idea. I like your idea though about that day off,
trade deadline day off.
Because Shane Bieber, he was a guy that was rumored to be going to several places, and he said he found out like 15 minutes before like the drop dead time to get ready to start a game. That hey, you're here, you're going to be here, and we need you to go ahead and get warm because you're throwing tonight. So yeah, I mean, I think that probably had something to do with it, with all the guys moving teams.
And then he went out and won, so give him credit.
Yeah, then he went out and won. Exactly.
Speaking of the Rockies, they also agreed yesterday to a 2-year contract extension with Mickey Moniak, who was certainly brought up in a lot of trade rumors. They signed him for a 1-year, $4 million deal before the season. He's had a breakout season being in Colorado, and it sounds like he's pretty happy there. So it agrees to a 2-year contract extension and will remain with the Colorado Rockies. And then finally,
here to torture us forever.
Exactly. Keep him in the division so you got to face him 13 times a year. And then Jung-Hoo Lee hit 2 home runs as the Giants beat the Rangers 5-1. What a turnaround in not a good way for the Texas Rangers, who've now lost their 6th straight game. Had a chance to gain ground on the Astros, did not, so they remain 2.5 games out in the American League West, and didn't really do anything at the trade deadline other than trade away a couple of players. So, doesn't look like Skip Schumacher is going to get a chance to get back to the playoffs in his first season now with the Texas Rangers as manager, which was probably always the plan, but they're kind of waving the white flag a little bit here at the trade deadline.
Never say never as it pertains to Skip Schumacher.
True.
Benjamin.
I'm sure he's not giving up. I mean, we know that
no.
He's not giving up in particular, but he's not getting a lot of resources from his organization or help from his lineup or pitching staff at the moment.
They tried yesterday to move Jacob deGrom to the Braves, and they approached him about a deal, and he invoked his no trade. He could have gone to the Braves and pitched for them, and they would have gotten a return. Don't know what it would have looked like, but they certainly weren't looking to add any big pieces for Skip, which is a bummer. And the other trade that did not happen yesterday that I think was really interesting, and I found myself quite bummed out about it that it didn't happen, was the Mike Trout to the Phillies trade. I think that would have been fun to see and fun for everyone, but I guess they called him in, 3 weeks ago and said, what are your thoughts? And we'd like to keep you. And he said, I'd like to stay. And so they did. And I guess they invited him into the war room to see how it all goes down. But yeah, I found myself kind of bummed, thinking now we're going to miss a potential Mike Trout playoff run because the Angels aren't really close, even though they had maybe the best deadline of anybody yesterday, adding a ton of pieces and finally selling off some expiring contracts. But that bummed me out. I would have liked to see him, go home and try to win a World Series for the Phillies.
I would love to, if who's it? Sam Blum, I think, is the athletic writer for the Angels. I would love somebody to do kind of a deep dive. Is it him not wanting to go? Is it they just couldn't find the right fit for a trade? Because I gotta say, at this point, I know, Mike Trout can still produce, and he's certainly, for me, born in 1990, he's one of, if not, arguably the best baseball player that I've seen in my lifetime. Obviously up there with Shohei Ohtani. But I'm going to look back at Mike Trout's career and I'm going to go, dude, didn't you want more? Didn't you want more for your career? Didn't you want to be under the bright lights in October? You've had every opportunity. You have the full no trade. You're Mike Trout. You can dictate where you wanted to go if you wanted to do that. And he's just been satisfied. At least that's what it seems like. We don't really know anything about Mike Trout. He doesn't really talk and do a lot of. He's not very publicly forward facing. So, it's tough, man. If it really turns out that if it came out that he was like, nah, I'm good. We'll just chill here in Anaheim. I think that's a negative look at the end of his career.
It's a fascinating question about how much responsibility a professional athlete has over their own career. No one's ever accused Mike Trout. When he's healthy and goes out, he plays hard.
100%.
He plays well.
Yep.
One of the maybe greatest ever to do it. Is it his responsibility to force the Angels to put him in a better situation, to make the Angels put better players around him? If they don't, to trade him to go somewhere else, to read the room, to be the general manager as well? Hey, I don't think things are going well here, so I've got to figure out a way to extricate myself from the situation. Or, you can always sign in free agency, but he signs a long-term deal. I don't blame him for trying to believe in the Angels at the time, thinking we got a good thing going. I got Shohei Ohtani here. We're going to have a great career. We're going to go to a lot of playoffs, and they never put a pitching staff or anything around him. How is that Mike Trout's fault at all? He has done his job for years and years and years.
You didn't. Maybe you didn't hear.
I know it's not his fault.
I'm saying
why should it
this
cloud his career if he has no fault in what
nobody
happened
gives a
to the
crap
Angels?
about your regular season numbers. It all comes down to what did you do in October? What did you do in the playoffs? Everybody remembers that Barry Bonds never won a World Series. Everybody knows that Ken Griffey Jr. never went to a World Series. Tony Gwynn didn't win a World Series, but at least his teams were, for the most part, they were competitive.
I will accept that argument for certainly a quarterback in the NFL who has an outsized impact on every game and every play. I will accept it for a star basketball player who's one of 5 players on the court on their team. Players in the NBA just have a lot more authority over their own careers, I believe, and the team and the league.
Sure.
In baseball, where you are one guy in a 9-player line, you can only get up once every 2 or 3 innings. If the ball's not hit to you, you can't do anything defensively. If you're not a pitcher, you don't have the ball in your hand. There's only so much you can affect if you're Mike Trout. And the rest is kind of just thrown up to fortune and fate. And there's not much you can do about it.
I think Paulie's point is they've been willing to explore that, I think, finally. And again, this is the deadline that I thought, oh my God, this could absolutely happen. This could absolutely happen this year. I mean, they just moved Bryce Turner out to the outfield. They're moving guys around. They could have made room for Mike Trout. I just thought it would have been a cool story and cool to watch.
No, I would love to see it as well. I don't disagree. And if we find out, after his career that Mike Trout, there was a deal in place to send him to the Phillies or the Yankees, and he turned it down and said, no, I have no interest. I just want to play for the Angels quietly for the rest of my career, then I think there is an argument to be said. But if they don't ever even approach him with that deal and go,
haven't they approached him before?
I don't think
this is the first trade dedeadline they've explored a trade.
I don't think he's
if you're Mike
rejected.
Trout, you're 15 years into your career or whatever it is with the Angels, you're towards the end, and I'm like, man, I don't think anybody would have faulted him if he's like, hey man, it didn't work. I tried everything I could here. I'm going to go chase a ring now.
Right, but I don't think he's ever exercised his no trade clause. At least we haven't heard it. Now, maybe privately he said, "Don't even bother trying. I won't.
Right.
I won't accept it." And that, we may find that out later. But until I hear there was a deal in place to send Mike Trout to a contender, and he went, "Nope, I am staying in Anaheim to linger on this last place team."
I think it's pretty obvious he doesn't want to move anywhere. I think it's been pretty obvious for like 10 years, but.
I'd be pretty pissed if I were him, if Shohei was there and they let him go and then also let him go for nothing to help us win in the future. I would have been pretty pissed.
All right, we will come back and be joined by AJ Preller, broadcasting live from our Bill House studios. We know how. Ben and Woods, 2 hours down, 2 to go on a Tuesday. Halfway home on a Tuesday morning. Ben and Woods, Ben and Paulie, live from our San Diego Odyssey studios. Woods, last day of his Hawaiian vacation on the north shore of Oahu, joining us from Turtle Bay. And I believe it was a year ago, the morning after the trade deadline.
Oh, I thought about it this morning.
That A.J. Preller tuned in to get our reaction to his moves at the beginning of the program. You guys were very into it. I was a little more measured, I think I remember, in my response.
Hang on. Yes, we were very into acquiring Mason Miller. Yes, we were quite happy that morning.
I'm actually pretty happy they acquired Mason Miller, too. He's been, for the last year, one of the most electric players I have ever gotten to see close up in my life in baseball. We'll see if the same can be said about Robbie Ray or Casey Mize. The Padres, 2 trade deadline acquisitions yesterday and a pair of big deals. And joining us right now on our SDCCU fan hotline is the president of baseball operations for the San Diego Padres, A.J. Preller. Good morning, A.J. How are you?
Morning, guys. How you doing?
We're good. We're
Doing
good.
Are you going to scream? Are you going to scream at Ben today?
No,
Like
that was
last year?
I saw him at the ballpark the other day with his Reaper T-shirt on, so I think that kind of spoke for itself. So.
How quickly they come around.
So, AJ, tell us about how the day went yesterday from your perspective. I love hearing just the mechanics of it, like how many hours you were awake, your phone, how you stayed just glued to it all day, and how the deals eventually with the Giants and the Tigers both came to pass at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a busy and active time for everybody in baseball. So, it's especially with the draft being later these last 5 years. Really, once the draft gets done with, the attention turns to the deadline. That first week or two, you're kind of building up for preparing for evaluating your team and preparing for what the possibilities are, and then the last week you kind of get to Petco and get in the room, and that's when really start looking at what's out there. And you start flushing through the different possibilities in the last 24, 48 hours. It's been a lot of activity. And I think, it feels like that's changed in the industry over the last couple of years. I feel like earlier in this job, you'd see some activity at the deadline. It feels like the last 2 or 3 years, it's one trade after another. So I think all teams are very active on trying to improve their team or trying to improve their system and their team for down the road. And it is literally like, a lot of ideas flying, a lot of stuff going, especially in that last 24 hours. And, ultimately we were able to line up on a couple of deals that we felt like are going to help us.
Talking to A.J. Preller here on Ben and Woods this morning, I was curious, normally, and I said yesterday on the show, it'd be cool to go get some guys, and I know that you like guys with some extra years of control. That's been something that you've been after, and I think most GMs are. Didn't line up that way this time. Was that anything to do with the uncertainty of next season and whether it will start on time or happen at all?
Yeah, I think that had a small part in it, in the conversations and discussions. I think, but it's just like more so what was out there on the market. I mean, we tried hard to line up on players that again, obviously players that have a chance to have multiple impacts and on your franchise. That's been more of what we've done over the years when we've made bigger deals. But really, I think the strength of the market this year, there were a lot of starting pitchers that were out there that were kind of rental players that were on the last year of control and can be free agents. So, that fit a need of what we had in terms of the rotation and adding to the starting pitching spots. And, but I think it was more of just what was out on the market this year and, kind of how things played out. And then ultimately, we traded away some guys that we feel like, are very talented and they're tough to move. But at the end of the day, we still kept, some of the top end of our farm system, and that was kind of the trade-off that we had this year.
AJ, I know when you scout players, you're big on their makeup, their competitiveness, but when you acquire a rental pitcher, how much is it like, hey, love Robbie Ray, what he's done in his career, love seeing Casey Mize, versus how are they pitching right now? Because you obviously are only guaranteed to have them for the next 2 months, and you need to know that they're kind of in form and going to be producing for those 2 months while you have them.
it's again, it's a big part of our conversation. How are guys doing? At that moment, and obviously you're trying to project what they're going to do. So sometimes you have guys that they've had a few bad start or two, but you feel like no, they're throwing the ball well, their track record's good, and they're going to perform well. I think with Robbie and Casey, they're two guys that have pitched, at some of the top ends of the league over the last couple of months. Robbie's, we just saw him the other day at Petco. He shut down, our offense, and we've been swinging the bats really well. A 1 ERA since June 1st or whatever it is. And Casey's been doing his thing as well. So, we saw it last year when we got Ramon Laureano. He was playing great at the time of the acquisition, and he kept doing that, really throughout the whole second half for us. I think with Mize and with Robbie Ray, they're two guys that have been throwing the ball really well, and that was definitely part of the calculus for us.
So big day today, obviously, for more depth with Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta throwing down at Elsinore. Kind of where do they stand? And then what about an update on some of the other guys that I think we're all missing? The Ramon Laureanos, the Samad Taylor, who was such a nice find and spark to this lineup. Kind of where do we stand on getting some of those? Andujar, getting some of those reinforcements back.
Yeah, it's I think with Nick and Joe, they get into rehab games here starting today, so it's exciting for everybody that they get out there. And it's been again, those guys have worked really hard to get to this point, and obviously you would have two big reinforcements that could add to our team and our rotation down the stretch. I've said it a few times. We've had the conversation really all year. Those guys can do all the work that they want in the rehab process. It's really going to be this next, 3 or 4 weeks that kind of tells us as they get going and start going from, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 innings and their pitch totals go up. And can you do it again in 5 days? We've had guys that have kind of passed all the tests at the, in the rehab portion of it, but it's really on the throwing portion. And they've been throwing the ball well, so far. And it's really exciting for them because they work really hard. I know at times people, look up and everybody just gets frustrated because they want to see guys like Musgrove and Pivetta that have been big parts of our success get back on the mound. But those guys, they put the work in every single day. They're guys that grind, they're guys that care. And, it's exciting when those guys now get a chance to go, make sure hopefully that work all pays off and they have some luck and those guys go out there and pitch great here in the next couple of weeks and we get them back. So, and then again, like we've got, hopefully a lot of other reinforcements have a chance to come back. I think ultimately with Samad and Miguel Andujar, it's probably looking like more later in the month. Samad coming back from the oblique, and he's dealt with this before one time, so he kind of knows his body and what he needs to do. And then, with Andujar, it's basically coming back from a wrist fracture. Once that heals, he'll be able to get back into it and have some rehab and swing it. But it's definitely with both those guys. They're not coming back here early August. It's going to be more later part of the month.
Hey, Jay, I'm curious. When you trade prospects, and you've traded a lot of them over the years, I know you and Chris Kemp and your guys develop relationships, whether it's draft picks with their families or international signings over the years, guys like Cash Mayfield that are in your organization. When you trade them, how do you let those guys know, and how difficult is that moment, and especially with a guy like Jackson Wolf, who you've done it to twice now?
Yeah, it's definitely like the like one of the toughest, if not the toughest part of the job is like getting on the phone and talking to players that that you've moved and players that you care a ton about, and honestly, like in truth that you value a ton, and you feel like you're invested in their careers, and you get to know, like you said, you get to know their family and friends, and they become part of the Padre family. So that's all real. It's not just like words for us. It's a real thing. Those are tough conversations to let somebody know, but it's also an opportunity for those guys. We've got a lot of talent in the organization. We got a lot of guys that are here and have played here in the big league level for a long time. So, it's a chance for those guys to go elsewhere and get an opportunity on a team that also likes them a lot. And those are very tough conversations. Honestly, you're kind of looking at that phone and dreading that phone call. But again, we draft a lot of really quality people. And because of that, those conversations are tough, but usually go pretty well, and more so it gives them an opportunity to go somewhere else and go do their thing as well.
All right, so we got AJ Preller on, president of baseball ops for the Padres, here on Ben and Woods this morning. I want you to name names, please. Who was the number one most called about person on your team that's still currently on your team?
Honestly, it's hard to say which player. We had so many. It was a very active conversation. So I would say, I would kind of say two areas. I'll say the bullpen as a whole. It's like your kids, maybe not wanting to rank your kids or something like that, but maybe the bullpen as a whole. And just the top end of the farm system, those are probably the two areas that we consistently got phone calls on throughout the program. So,
Salas and Miller, I got it. Easy.
And Morahone, I'm sure.
And Morahone, I'm sure.
AJ, when it comes to Mize and Ray in particular, what's the onboarding process like? I know both have enough rest that they could get a start in pretty quickly here. How is that process go in terms of making sure that they're ready to pitch for the San Diego Padres as quickly as possible? Like what's Ruben's responsibility and Craig's responsibility in getting them ready to kind of switch teams and signs and everything that they need to go out there and pitch and perform for the Padres?
We started that a little bit last night, but obviously we had a game to get ready for. There'll be a lot of that here today, and just like getting with those guys. Again, there's travel, there's logistics, players that are moving families and, where they're going to stay, where they're going to live. So that's all part of it that TJ Lasita, he does an amazing job for us. He's part of that process as well. And then on the baseball side, again, like with the pitchers, we'll get on that today in terms of what's best for them, with them traveling, with their routines and where they've been at, and what's best for our team and where they start to slot in. So I think we'll have more info later in the day about exactly where they're going to slot in, and again, conversation about our current staff, who's throwing where, who's on what day. That started last night, and between Ruben and Ben Fritz and Craig, those guys will handle a lot of that. But we'll just kind of talk about exactly what's best for our team and start to get those guys into their routine with us. But that's a lot of the work for today for sure.
Well, AJ, appreciate it. I know busy season even after the trade deadline. Good luck to the team tonight, next couple of months, and hopefully those moves will pay off, and we'll see more October baseball for the San Diego Padres. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
There he is, AJ Preller, President of Baseball Operations, GM for the Padres, on our SDCCU hotline. It's not big bank banking. It is better. We can react to what you heard from AJ when we come back. We will also play a little Take on Woods before Jesse Agler joins us. So if you want to try to qualify for our weekly grand prize, still available, the tickets to go see Muse at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 29th. Call now. We've got two categories remaining. I believe we have, TV and music, if you want to play. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Play our game coming up next, and then Jesse Agler at the bottom of the hour. All coming up with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
First, if you're looking for somewhere to spend a couple of hours, just have a really good time playing cards, we invite you to make the short drive down to Chula Vista, right off the 5 freeway, where you're going to find 7 Mile Casino, Woods, and their fantastic spread of card games.
Yeah, man. They got all the card games that you like. Texas Hold'em, Pai Gow, Baccarat, California-style blackjack. I've not been playing any Hawaiian-style blackjack since I've been out here. I don't know if it's a thing, but I know California-style blackjack is a real thing.
Well, you got a show to do in the morning. We don't need you at the casino late at night.
It's just blackjack with macadamia nuts. It's just like anything is Hawaiian style.
Everything has macadamia nuts in it out here, just so you know. Even the Kung Pao.
I'm sure instead of cashews, they just put macadamia nuts in it, and that's how they make it Hawaiian style. You're going to find
exactly
great
right.
food, though, at Sammy's at 7 Mile, including that Kung Pao chicken on the 24/7 players menu. It is my favorite dish, I think, in San Diego. It is spectacular. You can enjoy it out on the patio, in the bar, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Very few options that we have in San Diego for 24/7 dining. And then you sit down at a card table with great dealers, comfortable chairs. Check it out today, with or without the macadamia nuts, at 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this view. This speakeasy with this cocktail. Hey, could you make that too? The spa with this. Ah. And this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort, now open.
The Fan brought to you by GL Pools, the swimming pool experts trusted by thousands of San Diegans for 20 years. Baseball season is in full swing, so is swim season. Make sure your pool is ready. Call now, mention radio for 20% off new service plans in 2026. Before we get to Take on Woods, I feel somewhat like a crazy person as I'm looking up at our television here, and I see Stephen A. Smith and Jeff Passan discussing Tarek Skubal and him saying he doesn't sympathize with all the Dodgers critics.
I'm dying to
there.
know what Stephen A. Smith's take on all of this is.
And I would assume that people assume I'm lumped in among the Dodgers critics. I actually have zero criticism of the LA Dodgers. What would I want them to do? Not try as hard to win? It's not like they're not making money. They're not winning baseball games. My only criticism is with a system that allows them to do so many other things that the other 29 teams really can't do. That's my criticism. Sure. I don't think the Dodgers have done one thing wrong. And it would be ridiculous to say, no, don't trade for Tarek Skubal when it's quite easy for them to do it. They'd be insane not to. Of course you're going to try to get Tarek Skubal when the cost to your franchise in particular is negligible. It's negligible. Yeah. And you just increased your chances of winning the World Series by another factor. I'm not asking the Dodgers just to not do that. That would be insane. Right. I'm saying that the system is broken when it comes to the Dodgers versus the other 29 teams for various reasons. Their bankruptcy, extra money, their local TV deal, their massive Shohei Ohtani money from Japan. I mean, there's just too many advantages that are now conferred upon one team compared to the rest of the league. That's my complaint. That's nothing to do with the Dodgers or saying that the Dodgers are doing something wrong.
No, I mean, and over $1 billion deferred. And listen, we've got players on our team with deferred money coming, and that's fine.
The Padres have zero deferred money. Not $1 in deferred money. I don't think baseball allows the pod. No, not. They did a list yesterday. The Rockies have 427,000. That's more than the Padres in the future. The Dodgers have $1.18 billion in deferred salaries. The Padres have $0 in deferred money.
Is that right? I thought some of Manny was deferred.
None of it is deferred. It is all up front.
Well, then we absolutely need to change the system, Ben. No, I mean $1 billion deferred, but they do it knowing who the backing is. They do it knowing
it's safe for them to do it. They have plenty of money to do it.
It's absolutely safe. But if everybody was allowed to buy players on credit, it would be different.
There's just a dog just walked into the studio, just randomly. You don't see an owner, very cute dog, and it just left. Came up, sniffed me, and then walked out. That was very unusual.
Not something that you see every day.
No, it is not.
No, I agree with you, Ben. Like I don't like the Dodgers. I hate their fans, but it's really pure jealousy that they're about to go for their third straight World Series championship, and they've got every advantage in the world. And, they didn't do anything illegal or wrong in getting Tarek Skubal, but it's the system of Major League Baseball. I saw on I think on Reddit yesterday, somebody said, hey, don't forget. And they showed the screenshot of Padres attempting to sign Aaron Judge to a $400 million deal. And the reports are that Major League Baseball would have stepped in and said, no. So they're going to say out of one side of their mouth, everybody can spend like the Dodgers. And then when the Padres attempted to do it, they would have said, no, not like that.
I know you won't believe me, but if there was a system in place that conferred massive advantages on the Padres and not the other 29 teams, I would say the same thing. That's not how it's supposed to. That's not how it's supposed to work. It's just not. No. Sports is about trying to create the most level playing field for the 30 teams and then seeing who's the smartest, who's the most talented. And I just feel like it's not a level playing field enough when it comes to the Dodgers versus the Padres. But we'll be talking about that, I'm sure, all the way through the CBA and beyond. Right now, let's get to today's game. It is time to take on Woods.
It's time for Take on Woods.
Woods. Woods.
Take on Woods brought to you by Bail Alarm, security and fire alarms for every business. We got you, and we got Thomas. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Thomas, would you like to play Take on Woods?
I would.
All right, let's do this. You've got 5 questions. If you can beat or tie Woods, you will qualify for just our weekly grand prize. Instead of a trip, we got concert tickets for you. Muse going to be performing at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 29th. Your tickets are available now at Ticketmaster.com. Your 2 categories that we have to choose from are TV. It is called TV shows. Those are TV shows about making other TV shows. And then music, we've got song revivals, 5 songs that found new life, sometimes years or decades later after they debuted and finally went to like number 1 on the charts. So TV or music? Thomas, what would you like to play?
I think I'll do TV.
TV. All right, TV. TV shows is our category about television series, sitcoms, dramas that are about behind the scenes of television shows. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many as you can. If you don't know one, say pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question is our 2-second TV theme song. We'll play the little clip, and you need to identify the show based on the theme song. Thomas, you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. The category is TV shows. Your time begins when Paul plays our 2-second TV theme song. Good luck, Thomas. Let's take on Woods.
Scooby-Doo?
Incorrect. Loosely based on Saturday Night Live, Tina Fey starred as head writer Liz Lemon in which sitcom that debuted on NBC in 2006?
Pass.
Gary Shandling is a fictional late-night host in which acclaimed 1990s HBO comedy?
Yes.
Josh Charles and Peter Krause channeled their inner Rich Eisen and Dan Patrick in which show that unfortunately ran for only 2 seasons in the late 90s on ABC?
Pass.
John Lovitz provided the voice of Jay Sherman, who hosted a show called Coming Attractions, in which adult animated series from the mid-1990s.
Brutal.
All right, loosely based on Saturday Night Live, Tina Fey starred as head writer Liz Lemon in which sitcom that debuted on NBC in 2006? Oh, you got shut out there, Thomas. I am very sorry. We'll give Woods the same 5 questions. We did have a 0-0 last week, so it's not impossible that you could still qualify.
Just told him to come back.
Yeah, send the text to Woods. We'll see. I haven't seen the dog return yet. Not sure who it belongs to, or if it's just a wild dog that has decided to live in our studios.
Companies should just have dogs that just live in the office.
If they're friendly,
as long as somebody takes care of
someone
them.
picks up after them. That's not
dog
me.
just roaming around.
All right, Woods, your category today is called TV shows, and it is unsurprisingly a TV category. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time
This
begins.
is just TV shows?
That's the name of the category. You'll figure it out. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins with our 2-second TV theme song. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Thomas.
Can't hear anything.
Oh, he can't hear it, Paulie. Well, let's go on to the second question. Loosely based on Saturday Night Live, Tina Fey starred as head writer Liz Lemon in which sitcom that debuted on NBC in 2006?
30 Rock.
Correct. Gary Shandling is a fictional late-night host in which acclaimed 1990s...
Larry Sanders Show.
Correct. Josh Charles and Peter Krause channeled their inner Rich Eisen and Dan Patrick in which show that unfortunately ran for only 2 seasons in the late 90s on ABC?
Who are the stars?
Josh Charles and Peter Krause.
Oh, I should know this. Keep going.
John Lovitz provided the voice of Jay Sherman, who hosted a show called Coming Attractions, in which adult animated series from the mid-1990s.
No idea.
Josh Charles and Peter Krause channeled their inner Rich... Okay, well, you still got the win. 2-0 over
it's
Thomas.
2? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sports Night was one of my favorites.
Sports
Josh
Night.
Charles and Peter Krause.
Shocker.
And The Critic with John Lovitz. These were shows about making other television shows. And the 2-second TV theme song that you couldn't hear was Home Improvement, which, of course, starred Tim Allen as a Home Improvement host and, his family and such. So
I did like Thomas's guess of Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
That made me laugh.
Yeah, it did sound like...
I always thought that sounded like a dog.
It did sound like Scooby-Doo. You're right. All right,
I thought that you had just completely given up and Or you're just doing, here's our category today.
TV shows.
Music.
No.
TV shows. This is movies.
No.
I was like, wow, Ben is thrown in the towel.
Technically, the category was TV shows, but TV shows.
Okay.
TV shows. Like shows
Got
that are
it.
about TV. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, we will head out to Arizona, where we'll be joined by Jesse Agler, the voice of the Padres. I'm still trying to figure out what his R incorporator word is going to be for the week, but we'll find out coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
He just here. I'll show you a little. Just a little.
Please don't.
Just a little bit. What hurts on you?
Nothing at all.
A little bit.
Not that now.
So let's say
whatever you're about to touch is the only thing.
Let's say
it's gonna hurt.
Right?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Pretend your knee hurts.
Pretend your knee.
It's going to in a second.
Right here.
Oh, that is not pleasant.
Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this view. This speakeasy with this cocktail. Hey, could you make that too? The spa with this. Ah. and this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort, now open.
Ben Woods, brought to you by David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. People still talking about our conversation with A.J. Preller. See some angry people in our chat. Worst trade deadline in years. I just don't know how. You can't really evaluate it. I mean, they addressed their biggest need. In no way can I criticize the team for addressing their biggest need. Now, if you feel like they should have been sellers and traded away players for prospects at the deadline, it's a reasonable argument. You can fairly say, I don't think this team has it. They should have gone in a different direction. But if you accept the fact that they wanted to be buyers and go for it, and AJ in the Zoom yesterday said, not going to apologize for trying to win here. This is what we are doing. You can disagree, but not going to apologize for it. And if he's trying to win, then he needed pitching, and that's what he went out and got it without giving up his top prospects. So in that sense, I can't call it a failure of a trade deadline. He accomplished what he was trying to accomplish. Let's see what Jesse Agler has to say about all of it as he joins us now on our SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking. It's better. The voice of the San Diego Padres in hot Phoenix. Hello, Jesse.
Hello, guys.
I hope you're inside.
I am. But you know what? I was actually outside a few minutes ago, and it was cloudy, and it actually it was tolerable. Like I walked 50 feet to go get coffee outside, and it was like, oh, this is fine.
For 50 feet, I'm glad that you made it to get your coffee this morning. Your thoughts on yesterday's moves at the deadline and adding Robbie Ray and Casey Mize to the starting rotation?
Yeah, I think they did the job that needed to be done. I mean, I think, like the way I was looking at it the last couple of weeks coming into this thing was that, they needed to go out and get 2 starting pitchers, and ideally guys kind of at the top of the starting pitcher market, which is what they did. But frankly, I would have been okay if they just got, a couple of guys that you could sort of reliably count on to go 5 to 7 innings every 5 days the rest of the year, because, obviously we know what, kind of the state of the rotation has been like in the last few weeks. And so I think, the job was done, and that's the most important thing right now. And so, look, the offense is going to have to be the version of the offense we've seen generally, since call it, mid-late June. As we've said 1,000 times this year, I think, this team will go as far as offensive stars will take them. But, that was dependent upon getting, reasonable starting pitching. And, you add these 2 guys. Obviously, you've got, the sort of wild cards of Pivetta and Musgrove. And then, if you get reasonable starting pitching, if you get your offensive stars performing the way they're expected to, then this team can do the kinds of things that we hope it could. And pitching, they added starting pitching. And now, all right, we ride. Let's see what happens.
It's funny, Jesse, and I'm a human being, so I know it shouldn't be this way, but it always happens every trade deadline. My version of how the Padres did is often colored by how other teams did, or like what they did or what they didn't do. So I was reading about a bunch of Braves fans that were just furious, Yankee fans furious, Orioles fans furious, and I thought, oh, I guess ours was a little better. Does that ever happen to you too? Are you eye on the Padres prize only? Because I was like, oh, okay, good deadline, and then started reading what the other teams didn't do and go, oh man, maybe this was a great deadline.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly are aware of everything else, and I think everyone is like its kind of own little specific thing, right? And I mean, the Orioles one is like its own category right now, because what an absolute disaster. And we've had some version of this conversation a lot over the years. The prospect hugging to me is just, it's one of those things I've never understood. Going back to when I was like a teenager and, I was following, baseball very, very, very seriously for the first time, not just as like a fan, but as somebody who was starting to really understand, sort of the business of baseball and the scouting and the development and all that stuff and the draft and everything like that. And I think so often, we forget that the point of the entire thing is to try and win major league games and win major league championships. And I understand the importance of developing talent and prospects and, that's cost control and everything. I get that. I'm not naive. I'm not a fool. But I do think there is, a segment of every fan base that gets so caught up in loving their own prospects because there's a segment of the fan base who follows those guys. And so they feel like an ownership over those guys, and they become overly invested in those guys. And I think there's a lot of front offices that behave that way. And I think one of the things that I love most about AJ Preller is he has exploited sort of, if you will, that market inefficiency over the last few years. He's one of the very few, if not the only GM who has not fallen into that trap, who has not, become too emotionally attached to his prospects. And that's allowed him to go out and make moves. Now, obviously didn't trade Salas this year, who's, the top prospect in this system, which is exciting because maybe we will get to see Ethan at the major league level in a Padre uniform, which would be cool. And I'm not crapping on all prospects. Don't get me wrong. But I want to see the Padres win as many major league games as possible. I want to see the Padres acquire as much major league talent as possible because they are in a window right now where they are trying to win. And so for the Orioles, they're supposed to be in a contending window for several years now. They did the rebuild, they did the tear down, they did the all right, let's get as many prospects as possible. And now it's they're doing it again. And it's miserable. And I feel for those fans there because they've been through the ringer time and time again. And it's okay, what are we doing here? And they're watching literally every other team in that division have, significant success in the last decade. And it's they're looking around what are we doing here? So yeah, that's miserable. And then, the Yankees, I'm sure their fans, and I never really feel bad for Yankee fans, but they're looking around going all right, we thought the Red Sox were dead and buried a couple of months ago, and now they've surged, and now they're going out and making all these great moves. So I can understand where they're coming from. And yeah, so you certainly stay aware of what, the other teams are doing and how that makes everybody feel. But of course, I'm most focused on the Padres and what that means for the Padres. And I very much like what happened yesterday.
Jesse,
Yeah,
how much? Go ahead.
And hold on one sec. Sorry, I just texted you. Sorry. Like AJ Preller and the Padres actually got name checked in a conference call with Alex Anthopoulos, and the reporter essentially was like, "Could you explain how the Padres had so little and were able to do more with so little than what you have, and you only added Tyler Mahle?" And it threw him for a loop. I mean, Alex Anthopoulos is a pretty cool customer, and it kind of threw him for a loop a little bit. So, again, this is what the Padres have been able to do. And again, my vision was really kind of colored on watching other teams and what they didn't do. It was quite funny.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I've been saying it for a couple of years now. And, I've worn this analogy out. I apologize to those of you who have heard it, a million times before. But I've said it on the broadcast with Tony. I've said it with you guys. But, Moneyball with Billy Beane, like the original Moneyball in the early 2000s. I think some people maybe misunderstand that. And I think it was about on-base percentage. And that's a little bit of an oversimplification. What it was about was Billy Beane and the A's were looking for the market inefficiency. They were looking for the thing that nobody else was valuing. It happened to be on-base percentage. It could have been home runs. If other teams weren't valuing home runs, we're going to start valuing home runs. They happened to be on-base percentage, walks, whatever. So, they started gobbling up all these high on-base percentage guys because nobody else was valuing that. So they were able to get all those guys for cheap. And I think A.J. Preller, his version of Moneyball, his version of finding the market inefficiency is not valuing prospects the way every other team is valuing prospects. And that's the thing with Anthopoulos and the Braves is like every other team come every trade deadline, just values prospects in a way that is very different than the way AJ does, and that allows him to go out and get guys like Robbie Ray and Casey Mize when other teams really probably could have very well wanted guys like Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, had the prospect capital if they thought of it that way to go out and get Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, but just don't have the guts to pull it off, don't have like the value system in their own minds to pull it off. AJ's able to sneak in and do that because he looks at it differently than they all do. And I think that's like the great advantage AJ has had over the other 29 general managers the last several years.
So how much broadcaster research has Jesse Agler done, if any, on Robbie Ray and Casey Mize? Or will that wait until their first start? And do you know our favorite factoid about Gage Workman, the minor league infielder that they also picked up yesterday, his middle name?
So it's funny because obviously we just saw Robbie Ray. So that's an easy one, and we've seen him 30,000 times over the years. So Robbie Ray is pretty well covered in terms of his prep. It's funny with Casey Mize, he's pitched once against the Padres. I think, since I've been here, maybe I guess in his career, because I think he debuted in 2020. So I've only seen Casey Mize once in person, and there's very little I know about him. The Tigers obviously do training in Florida. So I mean, the AL Central non-Cactus League teams are like my absolute blind spot, in terms of knowing about guys. And so we've only seen him once. So I've got plenty of Casey Mize homework to do. Looking forward to getting to know him, in the next couple of days a little bit, depending upon when he pitches. And so, yeah, there's Casey Mize work to do. I haven't met Robbie Ray, but looking forward to that. I've always really, really, really enjoyed watching him pitch. Seems like a cool, interesting dude. I love the tight pants story. I've told it the last several times he's pitched. It's a very funny story to me. And so, yeah, I'm pumped to meet both guys, pumped to get to know them a little bit more. I did not know the Gage Workman middle name story. So if you could please let me know, I'm excited.
It's Tater. Gage Tater Workman.
Oh, what a great baseball name.
Isn't it?
What a great.
And then I was told that he has a little daughter, and she wears a little jersey that says Tater Tot, which is also very cute.
Which is genius. Genius.
Come on.
Beautiful.
I am already cheering for Gage Workman to somehow make it to the big leagues and make a big splash with the San Diego Padres just for that middle name factoid. All right, we are on to the letter R in our run through the alphabet for our incorporator with Jesse Agler, getting his word that he has to incorporate into tonight's broadcast. And had a little trouble coming up with one today, but Woods found one that I think we should all enjoy. Paulie?
Rhabdomancy.
Rhabdomancy or rhabdos, I think, is the one we actually settled
the
on.
last one.
The last one was rhabdos. It's rhabdomancy is the use of a rhabdos, which is a magic wand or stick, or any stick of any sort of authority. Rhabdos, RHABDOS, Jesse, rhabdos.
Okay.
I mean, there's plenty of sticks in baseball, so you should have you should have no trouble finding a way to work it in. It's just how funny it's going to sound when you actually do tonight.
Yes. Well, hopefully the Padre rhabdoses get going tonight.
They do need.
I don't know if that's proper usage, but yes.
Wave your magic rhabdos.
Yeah. Well, it was Harry Potter night last night at the Diamondback game, so that would have been
easy one.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah. We'll get there. Don't worry.
All right, quick road trip and then back home this weekend. So hopefully come back with a couple of victories here over the Diamondbacks the next few days, and we will see you next week, Jesse.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
Jesse Ackler, voice of the San Diego Padres on our SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking. It is better. A rhabdos. As we're getting near the end of the alphabet for sure. I felt like it was just last week we were in the A's and B's and C's, and now here we are in the letter R. We're so deep into the season. Post-trade deadline, Woods is now just laying on his bed in his hospitality suite.
This is the most You'd think broadcasting from bed would be awesome. It's not. It's not even close. I cannot get comfortable. I'm in severe pain. This is just the worst. Look at this. I'm holding my laptop. It would be fine if I could just lay here, but we got to have the camera on too. So
well, enjoy your 6.5 hour flight tomorrow, because that'll probably also be uncomfortable, unfortunately.
Well, it's so nice. It's such a great vacation day.
A wild take from a baseball broadcaster yesterday. Paulie's got that in the Rindle Report next on The Fan. Final hour of Ben Woods. We've gone from prone Woods on the bed in Hawaii to just the screenshot of Woods, the worst of all time, perhaps. Is he still with us, though, right? He just doesn't want to sit up and be on the camera anymore because it's so uncomfortable for him.
I'm here. I have to sit on the edge of a bed, and so I'm just going to lay down in the bed and listen and contribute that way.
Fantastic.
You're not in the bathroom, are you?
No, I'm laying on my bed.
I heard that echoey
wait.
kind of sound, too, that sounded a little bathroomy.
It sounds different than it did for the rest of the show.
Do you ever have that when you're on the phone and you're trying to disguise the fact that you're in the bathroom while you're talking to someone and hoping it's not
all the time
too echoey or you're making any sounds that they will give away the fact that you are in the bathroom while you're talking to them?
Yeah.
How many times have you done that to me?
All the time. I'm usually in the bathroom when I talk to you, which is rare, but I like literally, I had to like sit up because this is the only area of the room that has all the plugs that I need, and so I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just gonna lay down. I'm gonna lay down, and please take that. Put up like one of my new headshots, Paulie. The terrible headshots. I can't look at the. Show me my. There you go. Perfect. Me clasping my hands in front of my wiener is perfect. You guys can still hear me though?
Yeah, we can still hear you loud and clear.
All right, good. I'm here.
All right. So there is a report out there that from Bloomberg that MLB owners have approved the sale of the San Diego Padres to Jose E. Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones. I have not gotten that officially confirmed anywhere else. As I understand it, it's kind of a two-step process that it has to pass through like a subcommittee and then get to the full vote. So from what my understanding is, they may be in between those two. Like it's probably a formality at this point that it's going to be approved, but no official announcement from the San Diego Padres or Major League Baseball at this point. But I wanted to acknowledge, as people were talking in the chat about it, there is a report from Bloomberg that's it's done. It's my understanding that maybe not quite officially done yet, but it looks like they're at the 1 yard line, to mix my sports metaphors, to get that approval process done for the Padres sale. Of course, it comes after the trade deadline. Maybe that was part of it. Other teams and owners were busy with the trade deadline, and now they can turn their attention to other matters. But we will keep an eye on it. If there's any official news, of course, we'll pass it along for you here on 97.3 The Fan.
So will they do like a presser and all that? Like, will we go down there and meet the new owner?
Assume that Jose E. Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones will do a press conference at some point after they are approved as owners. I don't believe that's a requirement. Some owners are very in front of the media and the fans. Others you rarely see. I've heard people. I know, like Nintendo owned the Seattle Mariners. Still does maybe.
No
one in Seattle has ever seen or ever talked to any of the owners. I think you can have a much different level of involvement. Peter Seidler walked the streets of San Diego and talked to everybody. Not all owners are built like Peter Seidler. We will find out what kind of owners the Padres have, but probably not for the coming days, weeks, and we'll see. But at some point, you would think they will at least introduce themselves officially to the city of San Diego. So we'll keep an eye on that. Until then, let's get to some other headlines that we have missed on this post-trade deadline Tuesday with our Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hey guys, it's Paul here.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
Two stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And one story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a
All right.
All right. Happy Tuesday, gentlemen. Let's see here.
Tuesday.
Got a really odd piece of baseball audio for you coming up next, but we will start here in the NFL. Just a quick headline here from the NFL. Bijan Robinson, running back for the Falcons, he has reached a 3-year contract extension worth up to $75 million. It's going to make him the highest paid running back in NFL history. Kind of a weird time in the sport where like running backs aren't necessarily valued
it's so
as they used to be.
'cause it's not that shocking of a number. When you hear contracts nowadays for quarterbacks, 8 years, $682 million, or for basketball stars, or for baseball stars, and you hear the highest running back in the history of the NFL paid is going to make 3 years, $75 million. You go, what? That's it?
Yeah.
Running backs are they're just like
the game has changed,
reusable, and like to move on to the next one.
Who's the next quarterback that's in line for who's going to be the next highest paid ever quarterback?
I mean, it just feels like they continue to jump each other.
Right.
Like whoever's up next for the
next,
contract.
yeah.
Is it Josh Allen? Is it Patrick Mahomes just signed another one? I mean, I think he's been the highest paid quarterback
Herbert,
like 3 different times in his career. It's just whoever's turn is next to sign a contract extension.
No thoughts from Woods on Bijan Robinson, I guess?
Very excited.
No, he's very excited.
Very excited. Good. That's all I wanted.
All right. We need more thoughts on this next story.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely get some thoughts on this next one. Now, I could be wrong. I feel like we have talked about Orioles broadcaster Ben McDonald a few times. And I feel like there was something in the last year, maybe 2, where he said something like, I've never eaten a vegetable, or I've never eaten a piece of broccoli, something weird. And we're like, I remember we played it, we're like, is he doing a bit? Like, there's no way that that's possible. Well, it happened again recently. I won't even set it up. I'm just going to play this little snippet here. They went on for about 3 minutes on this subject. I grabbed about 30 seconds of it. But, Woodsy, listen to this clip from the Orioles broadcast the other day. This is Ben McDonald on the call.
A little bit of hype from Bradish. You think you use the same amount of product in your hair as Brandon Marsh does?
No way. For me, it's just a bar of soap.
A bar of soap?
Yeah. I've never used shampoo. Not once, ever. Just a bar of soap in the hair.
You have never used shampoo?
Never.
In your life?
Never.
Not when you were a kid?
No, just a bar of soap in the shower. That's all I need. You use shampoo?
Yeah.
Why?
Doesn't everybody else?
I don't know. It's just a bar of soap. It's simple. All you need is a bar of soap. Cleans it perfectly.
I think Ben McDonald needs to be investigated if that is true.
He's incredible. He's incredible, dude.
Never used shampoo in his life.
Never.
I don't see how that's possible. I mean, I get it. He's got short hair. Woods, you now have short hair. You could probably go with the bar of soap. I mean, shampoo is just so convenient for washing your hair, though. Why would you refuse one of life's conveniences when you don't have to? And then, the soap can be kind of, like sticky and it doesn't wash out of your hair as cleanly as shampoo does.
No, I agree. I mean, what's more convenient, though, than just using a bar of soap all over your body and then moving it right to your head? I mean, it's like...
Well, that's convenient but like, let's say you're at a hotel. They already have, like, the shampoo and the pump bottles in the shower.
Right. Yeah.
Are you going and bringing your own soap?
Well, now,
when you're traveling on the road, are you using that little bar that you have to unrap at the sink and then taking it into the shower
doesn't
with you?
stay in very many hotels. What does he do for a living again?
He's a broadcaster. He stays in hotels like 100 days a year plus.
Like every hotel shower I've been in the last, 10 years, it's like they have like the 3 push tube bottles. It's like stuck on the wall. Shampoo, conditioner, and a body wash.
And before that, they had the little tiny bottles. I mean, it was very easy.
So they also may have like the small bar of soap on the sink that you got to unwrap, for your stay.
I can never get that thing unwrapped. It is the tightly wrapped bar of soap.
So am I to believe that Ben McDonald, every time he stays in a hotel, he's going to the sink and unwrapping a little bar of soap, bringing it into the shower, and just using that on his head?
I typically don't use the pumps at the hotels, or I do at the hotels, but more the Airbnb. I bring my own to an Airbnb because I think people do things to the soap and conditioner at Airbnbs. I'm pretty convinced of it, to be honest. But I got a haircut one time, and I was out of town. I was in where was I? I was in Montana or Wyoming or something. I needed to get a haircut. And this sweet little Asian man, he was probably, I'm not joking, he's probably 85 years old, cut my hair. And then at the end, he goes, he was going to style it. And he took like 2 pumps of lotion and rubbed his hands together and this was like lotion. This was like lubricator.
Hand lotion.
This was, yes, it was not. It was not hair lotion. It was like literally like a bottle of lubricator. And he's like, and I'll never forget. He's like, yeah, we use a little lotion, and he rubs my hair with this lotion. And I was like, all right, man, thank you. And like I walked outside, I was like, he just put lubriderm in my hair, dude. Like, it was so weird.
There's one part in that clip that we played where Ben McDonald's like, well, what do you use? He's like, do you use shampoo? And he's like, yes.
Here it is.
No, just a bar of soap in the shower. That's all I need. Do you use shampoo?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't use conditioner every time. I have some, but it's like, I don't know that it does anything. I'm not convinced that the conditioner actually does anything at all.
It does. It conditions your hair. So what you should be doing to be softer, and so here's what you should be doing. Wash your hair, Ben, and Paulie too. Now you got longer hair. Wash your hair about once a week, but condition your hair every day. That's what my gal told me. So condition your hair every day, wash it once a week, because you don't want to take all the natural oils and juices out of your hair.
I don't wash my hair. I mean, I rinse it under the water,
right?
But I don't
shampoo
put
like
shampoo
every day.
in it every single day. I will agree with that.
I learned that as an adult. I did not know that that you weren't supposed to. I just was like, oh, you take a shower, you use shampoo. Like I didn't know that
every time.
I was like 21, and somebody's like, you're supposed to use shampoo like a couple of times a week, not every single day.
Yeah, a couple times. I'd say twice a week is good, and then condition it every day. Condition it every single day, Benjamin. So you're doing it in reverse. And K-Law has dropped the hammer. Ben, maybe you wouldn't have Mao Zedong hair if you used conditioner.
I never use conditioner. I'm just not religious about it because I'm still unconvinced that it has any effect whatsoever.
You know who else didn't use conditioner? Mao Zedong. So you're in good shape.
Oh man! All right. Well, finally,
I love McDonald, dude. I can listen to that guy all day. He's such a hillbilly. I love it.
Oh, it's amazing. All right. Finally, we will wrap it up. We were very busy yesterday, tracking all of the trades, wondering what the Padres were going to do. So we kind of completely missed this one from over the weekend. We do have a shout out to his family to get to, a pretty big one. Woodsy, are you familiar? I didn't prep you on this one at all, but one of your favorite characters from The Sopranos passed away over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. My beloved big pussy, Sal Bumpancero, Vincent Pastore from The Sopranos passed away. And yeah, he was 80 years old, which surprised me. It really surprised me. And it made me go, oh my God, where is the time gone? Because he didn't, when was that show? Was it 30 years ago? Because it feels like it was 5 years ago.
When was the finale?
It was like 90s into the early 2000s, I think. So we are now a quarter of a century really past the era of The Sopranos.
99 to 07.
99 to 07, yeah. So I don't know, man. I pictured him as a younger man. And when I found out he passed at 80 years old, I was legitimately blown away. Legitimately. And sad, because Big Pussy was one of the best characters on The Sopranos by far. He was a rat. He was a rat for sure. But, he did what he had to do.
Is there any characters you didn't really care for on The Sopranos?
It's funny. I obviously when you're watching the show, you're like, God, I hate Johnny Sack. And then you really start to love Johnny Sack. I didn't like Richie. I thought Richie was an absolute scumbag. But he got his in the end. He's a great character.
Well, that's not a bad character. Yeah, there's guys you root against, but like the cast was
Oh,
Just
yeah, easy.
fantastic. Top
AJ.
to bottom. Oh, AJ. Okay.
AJ Soprano. Like
Robert
I couldn't
Eiler.
stand him. Yeah. Couldn't stand him at all.
I
Richie
like Paulie Walnuts
Richie was
just because my name was Paulie, but that was an easy one.
He's unbelievable.
Paulie Walnuts.
Ben, you should do the wings in your hair like Paulie Walnuts, because he also had Chairman Mao hair, but he put white wings on the side. That would look so sick on you, dude.
Did that happen on purpose, or did it just naturally grow that way? Because I'm starting to get some little white, and I started thinking that maybe I will go that direction.
I would be legitimately jealous if you put the silver wings in your hair. You would look like such a badass every day. No, I hated AJ. He made me sick to my stomach.
Who was Ada Turturro? Her character.
Ada Turturro
She was the sister,
right?
What was her name?
That Janice.
Janice Soprano.
Yeah, she was amazing. Awful, but an incredible character.
But yeah,
made you insane.
Insane.
She made me insane. Such a great show. Such a great dude. I've seen a couple of things with him after he died, or after he was off the show. He was in a couple roles, and I've seen a couple podcasts with him on it. He just seemed like such a good dude, man. Such a good guy. So you know how we do it on Ben and Woods.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
Rest in power, Big Pussy.
Big Pussy.
I don't remember if the loss of James Gandolfini predated our show or not, but man, I wish we still I wish we still had things to watch him in, new stuff, because he was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, he was truly the best, man. Very, very sad.
Paulie,
very, very sad.
Thank you very much. I do have an update.
Yes.
Kevin Acey of the UT has updated the story, and I was correct. He is reporting that a small committee of team owners yesterday approved the transfer of ownership to the group led by Jose Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones, setting the stage for an expected vote by all 29 owners next week. The sale is expected to officially close the week of August 17th. So, in about 2 weeks, the Padres should officially have new owners, Jose E. Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones. So there's your update. Bloomberg a little premature with their report that it had been completely approved, but yeah, they are on at the finish line here of the Padres sale that should be done in the next couple of weeks.
Excellent.
All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we can still look ahead. We got 3 more games of this Padres Diamondbacks series, and I will remind everybody, Padres lost the first game to the Giants, still came back and won that series, so they can do the same against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Look at the matchups and more coming up next with Ben and Woods, broadcasting live from our Bill House studios. We know how on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this view. This speakeasy with this cocktail. Hey, could you make that too? The spa with this. Ah. And this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort, now open. Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this.
Ben and Woods on a Tuesday, going until 10 o'clock today. Padres tonight, 6:40 first pitch again. And they made the decision last night that Randy Vasquez will start game 2 of the series against Eduardo Rodriguez, who's really been the ace of the staff ever since leading Venezuela to the World Baseball Classic title. He has just gone and ran with it and had a really phenomenal bounce-back season here for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Padres need Randy to give him a chance, though, in this game. And Woods, ultimately, the Padres bats need to get going again. They've been solid, basically since June. The offense has been good, led by Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Jackson Merrill of late's resurgence. But all three of those guys have hit, I would call it a mini slump. Not a bad slump, but in the last few days, you just haven't seen the balls falling in. I mean, Manny hit a couple of balls hard. I was sure that one yesterday was going to get over the center fielder's head. Did not. Had the one deep to right field I thought might carry. Did not get over the wall. Fernando hit one to the wall to start the game. Just didn't. Sometimes that happens over the course of a season. You just have to make sure that it's just a night and not a week, or 2 weeks, because the Padres can't afford to go into a 2-week offensive slump when every game is now so important the rest of the season.
Yeah, they'd won some games with. I mean, Manny's one for. I think he's won. Somebody said he's 1 for 20 with his last 20 with 10 Ks. That's not good. Was a little bit encouraged last night with the way he barreled a couple balls. I think he hit 105 last night. So yeah, I mean it's Manny. Like you kind of feel like he'll come out of it at some point and go on a 14 for 22. And we're going to need it, down the stretch. Certainly, those guys are going to have to play, not to the back of their baseball cards, but to their paycheck. They're going to have to play to their paycheck. This is it. Like, you needed pitching, you got pitching. There weren't many giant bats out there that you could have gotten other than, maybe an Alec Burleson would have been nice. It obviously is colored by the fact that he hit 3 bombs last night in Yankee Stadium. Like, that really helps. But, he had been scuffling a little bit too. So there's no, look, we have plenty of firepower. Will they play like their paychecks say? And that's kind of what it boils down to. I mean, your baseball cards are all come and gone at this point. Like, you need to play like you're capable of and like you're paid to play down the stretch here. Where it's been, look at thinking about the last few years of playoff futility. What has killed us? It really hasn't been the pitching; it's been the hitting. If this team ever wants to go anywhere, those guys at the top, they have to hit. They have to hit, and they have to play like guys that make a lot of money. That's really what it boils down to.
My guess is that most of the bullpen is available behind Randy Vasquez. You might get an indication as to who's going to be replaced on the roster. You want to use as much of the arms as possible before you send them down.
Yeah.
So will we see a JP Sears in relief? Do we want to see? I mean, great if they've got a 7-run lead, you can use anyone you want. Do your matchups however you'd like, but if it's a close game, you have your high leverage Brad Glay, Mason Miller. They might want to give Adrian Morejon a second day off if they could afford that luxury, since he did get 4 outs in 2 consecutive games on Saturday and Sunday. But my guess is if the game's on the line and they need to get a lefty out in the 8th inning, that Adrian Morejon would be available today if they needed to, because you definitely would like to win this game and then have a chance to still either win the series or split the series. I mentioned earlier that splitting the series is not a horrible outcome. That keeps you tied in the season series against the Diamondbacks with a home series against them to wrap up the season. Keeps you within 1 spot of a playoff berth at the very worst, depending on what the Phillies do over the next couple of days against the Washington Nationals. So you don't have to win the next 3, but you really would love to win 2 of the next 3 to emerge with at least a 4-game split as you move on, because the schedule does get a little more challenging here. The Padres don't have the toughest second-half schedule, but they do have some playoff contenders coming up in the next couple of weeks, including the Houston Astros this weekend, who've moved into first place in the AL West. They're going to be visiting Petco Park coming up. You've got teams like the Guardians. You've got the
Astros,
Brewers, Guardians. Yeah, all 3 playoff contenders in a row that you play 2 at home and then in Cleveland. And then you've got the Mets is on the road. They've traded a bunch of guys away, so that's an opportunity. But the Twins are not out of it. You got Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay after that, and then the Yankees as well at the start of September. So there's a bunch of teams.
It doesn't seem as soft.
Well,
and
it's
light
not.
As
That's
everyone,
what I'm saying. Until you get through the Yankees, it's mostly teams that are still in it. Then you got to stretch. I'd imagine after the trades they've made, Washington's going to start falling out of it. Then you got the Giants again, Colorado for 4. They've traded just about everybody. Miami's not going for it. You've got them at home. So you do have that stretch of September games where you could really go on a run, just like the one we saw against the Giants in Colorado. So the Padres don't necessarily need to have a 3-game cushion going into September, but they need to be within a game or 2. And then they can, use that schedule to their advantage in September. But this is a dangerous part of the schedule here in August that I'm looking at, with a lot of good teams coming up and teams that are still fighting for a playoff spot and have a lot to play for. So you want to rack up as many wins as you possibly can this month and stay, as close as you can to that playoff spot going into September.
Yeah, and with the additions at the deadline, it would be a real bummer to not now, you're obviously at risk of not even making the playoffs. It's one thing to
of course
bolster your rotation when you're in a playoff spot, and doing what the Phillies did yesterday, getting a rise, a couple of the guys that they got. An interesting series for me, I'm looking at it on the calendar, Ben, is the second to the last series of the year against the Dodgers, who will absolutely have the division wrapped up at that point. You cannot go nuts trying to beat them those last 3 games because the final 3 games are the ones that could end up being the most important. Imagine it comes down to a Diamondbacks Padres series at Petco Park for the wild card. So it could be potentially a lot of fun coming up. But yeah, man, you're going to have to start stacking some wins, and hopefully the new guys can help you get there.
Yeah, just imagine a scenario where you go into the final weekend of the season at Petco against the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you split this series, then you will win. If you win that series, you'll win the tiebreaker, which means if you are 1 game behind Arizona going into that series, all you'd have to do is take 2 out of 3, and that could decide the last playoff spot. But if you lose this series, then you'd have to sweep that series to win the tiebreaker. So that it could actually have a huge impact on the last 3 days of the season, what you do over these next 3 days, because I definitely foresee a very realistic scenario in which the Padres and Diamondbacks battle for that last playoff spot right into the last week of the year.
I know, 100%, man. It's great. It's great. It was nice. I mean, I tweeted it yesterday. Watching meaningful baseball on August 3rd was good. That's what we like to do. There's plenty of teams that don't really feel that their games are very meaningful right now. So it was good to watch a meaningful game. Excited to watch another meaningful one today. Kind of nervous for it already.
And then if you heard from AJ Preller, who joined us earlier, he mentioned that today will be a big day for both Robbie Ray and Casey Mize. Getting them settled, started the process last night, but today they will really bear down, see where both the guys are, which one's probably ready to take them out. My guess would be one of them will start tomorrow for the Padres, and maybe even both of them will start over the next 2 days, and you push Walker Buehler back to the weekend at home, but they will make those decisions. My guess is by the end of the day, we will know when both of those guys are scheduled to make their first starts for the San Diego Padres, just based on what works best in their routines and, when they've been throwing on the side. So we should find out more later today in Arizona, maybe from Craig Stammen in the pregame press conference, news scrum, and the dugout.
Sounds good.
All right, let's take a final timeout. Yeah.
A couple hours ago, we got it in our studio here, TV with ESPN on, and we made a comment a couple hours ago. Like Stephen A. Smith and Jeff Passan were talking about the trade deadline and Tarek Skubal, and we were like, I think I made a joke about, Stephen A. Smith really need to get his hot takes on the MLB trade deadline. Well, I look up now, and it's now switched over to the Pat McAfee show, where he is interviewing Eric Hosmer, and they are talking about Tarek Skubal and the Dodgers. It's muted right now, but I'm watching it, and I'm thinking there's probably nothing I'd rather watch less than Pat McAfee and Eric Hosmer talking about just glazing the Dodgers.
Talking about the Dodgers.
There's no question.
God.
There's no question.
Well, we always say that, we wish the national media would pay more attention to baseball instead of football. Maybe we don't.
True.
Just be careful what you wish for. It's not necessarily a good thing when they start paying attention.
Like I can hear it without hearing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just watching it and I go,
no, I know.
This is not for me.
Ben and Woods brought to you by David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We'll come back, can spin the topic wheel, get you to top of the hour, and Braden and Frank coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
He just, here, I'll show you a little. Just a little.
Please don't.
Just a little bit. What hurts on you?
Nothing at all.
A little bit.
Nothing. Now,
So let's say
whatever you're about to touch is the only thing.
Let's say
It's going to hurt.
Right?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Pretend your knee hurts.
Pretend your knee
It's going to in a second.
right here.
That is not pleasant.
Hey, player, this is all yours. This room with this view. This speakeasy with this cocktail. Hey, could you make that too? The spa with this. Ah. And this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort, now open.
I have to admit, Woods, maybe you feel the same way. I worry about, whether sometimes I'm too easy on your San Diego Padres, that I'm too much of a fan. Grew up here, I cheer for the team, want them to do well. I see the criticism in the chat sometimes that we don't ask the tough enough questions of A.J. Preller. We should be more critical at times. And I worry about that sometimes.
Okay.
And then I heard the national take on the Padres trade deadline during our little break, and I thought, am I being too hard on the San Diego Padres? Like, I don't know. I mean, can you play it, Paulie?
Yeah,
Not everyone heard it probably during our commercial break, but we had one of our Odyssey national hosts who just do their short, little 30-second opinion pieces, and he had one on the trade deadline, and he focused on the San Diego Padres and how he thought they did yesterday.
See here.
See if we've got it here.
This is it.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
The San Diego Padres just mastermind an incredible trade deadline push. General manager A.J. Preller aggressively, completely overhauled the rotation, landing former Cy Young winner Robbie Ray from the Giants and frontline right-hander Casey Mize from the Detroit Tigers. San Diego went all in for October. It may be World Series or bust. I'm Drake Toll.
All right, Drake. I mean, we had A.J. Preller on our show. Maybe we should have been just genuflecting, Woods, at what an amazing job masterminding the trade deadline that he did.
No matter the juice.
Setting up the Padres for a World Series run. I don't think we went that over the top in our praise of what A.J. Preller did. I just was generally pleased with the outcome of the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, you had needs, you addressed them. I think from a national perspective, Ben, we always talk about when we listen to an ESPN broadcast how inaccurate they usually are speaking about the team because they're not in it every single day. And so I think it does beg the question: why do you always have to replenish the team at the deadline? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't it deep enough to replenish itself? I think those are fair questions. I think.
Well, which contender didn't somewhat replenish themselves at the deadline this year?
You know what I'm saying. We had one starting pitcher, essentially, one with some spare parts. Then you had to add 2 frontline starters at the deadline, mostly because of injury. But what I'm saying is the national perspective, they don't get the full story. And I'm not saying he didn't do a good job. He did. He absolutely did. I'm looking forward to seeing Ray and Mize pitch. But at the end of the day, World Series or bust. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Boy, that's a real high bar. I mean, yeah, it should be the bar every year, but I don't know, man. I don't get that feeling.
If I'm AJ Preller, I'm saying to Craig Huner, the Padres president of communications, can I go on the Drake Toll show instead of the Ben Wood show?
The Drake Toll show
in the future. Sure. If he thinks that way about me, I'm on the wrong show on that station.
Oh, Ben says he talked about the Padres all morning before your show. I called in to talk to him. LOL. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's fine. I think that the national perspective, you're not in it. You're not in it every single day, and you don't know maybe the history. And I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying you don't know kind of the bruises, the bumps that you've been through. You just look at it and go, oh crap, look at that. They just added Robbie Ray and Casey Mize. They're going to win the World Series, or it's World Series or bust for this team. I think honestly, being out of a playoff spot, it's kind of tough to say that right now. It's not like we have a lead or anything like that. So I think we're all just hoping to scratch and claw and find our way into the playoffs somehow.
I gotta remember sometimes. I'm like, hey, look, I'm all for a playoff run over the next couple of months. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be intense. But let's not remember that this team's out of a playoff spot currently and just above 500. World Series or bust does not fit the mold for this team and this season. It just doesn't.
I don't think so either. I mean, get in there and see what happens. But I feel the same way. So I'm not. I heard the same thing. I kind of laughed, and in regards to what people think about you or us or whatever.
I know it's just a saying. It's just a saying. World Series or bust. What does that even mean? Does that World Series or bust? So if the Padres don't win the World Series, burn it all down, get rid of clear house.
I mean, what does it matter if you won the World Series? You could still say World Series and bust. I mean, that there really is no. You're right. That doesn't have any meaning whatsoever. World Series or bust.
Just curious what that actually means.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you look at it in a literal sense, obviously it doesn't make any sense. But if it's World Series or bust, we want to win a World Series or at least make the World Series, or that season was a failure. I am reminded always of Giannis and his brilliant answer to the reporter's question. Was this year a failure? And he kind of turns it on the reporter and says, if you didn't get a raise that year, is it a failure? He said, there's building blocks to this thing. There's steps that you take, and hopefully, you make the right decisions to get to that point. That's what sports are. It's building blocks. And, listen, AJ's been building for a while, and we've had some close calls, certainly, but ultimately the job is not finished. I think he would tell you the same thing. I think he would absolutely tell you the job's not finished. So, it's just dumb sports talk, man. That's all it is.
Sometimes teams get to skip some of those building blocks, just kind of a magical season, and get to the top quickly. But I generally agree with you that the more often you've been to the playoffs and had experience doing it, it's going to serve you better. So if the Padres get there again, the fact that it'll be another trip for Machado and Tatis and Bogarts and Cronenworth and players who have been there several times, that generally helps teams going forward. It's part of that process. So we'll see if the Padres can get there and if it makes any difference whatsoever this October rather than, a couple years ago when they looked like they were in great shape and all of a sudden stopped scoring for the last couple of days of the season. One other baseball note before we wrap it up. We mentioned it earlier. Yankees are calling up their top prospect to make his major league debut against the Cardinals. And I like to think that I pride myself on being very logical and open-minded. So I always catch myself when I find bias creeping in, but I can't help it here. I feel like someone named George Lombard is 88 years old, and I just can't picture a 21-year-old baseball stud named George Lombard for some reason. I don't know why that is.
He's a junior.
He's a junior. Okay, well, that makes a little more sense. So he's named after his dad. For some reason, it just sounds like an old-timey name of someone who should be in a nursing home.
I'll
and
get
not
you one of his
making
baseball cards tomorrow.
Major League debut. I know you guys are more into it than I am. I'm looking forward. I've heard good things. He's actually raking right now in the minors, and they're bringing him up to help with the playoff push. They've had trouble at shortstop, so it'll be one of the major additions that didn't come with the trade deadline, but from within for the New York Yankees this week.
His dad was a big leaguer that you may remember, George Lombard Sr. Ben. Played for the Braves, the Tigers, the Rays, the Nationals. He's coach for the Dodgers. He's currently a coach for the Detroit Tigers.
Another legacy Major League Baseball star coming up. Yeah, you can't argue that it doesn't help to have a big league dad. Not every son of big leaguers obviously makes the big leagues, but that's got to be one of the best predictive points. Were you a big leaguer? Well, then your kid has a much better chance of making the big leagues than the general population.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's cool to see. I mean, I remember watching his dad play. I remember watching all these dads plays and all these guys' dads play, and it just makes you feel incredibly, incredibly old.
I did not remember George Lombard Sr.'s career, but it makes more sense now that I know that he's a junior. That's why he's named George Lombard.
The kid needs a nickname, ASAP.
I think so, too.
Lomby?
Yeah.
Lomby?
ASAP.
All right, let's spin the topic wheel to wrap up the show today.
Very random. But if you were a farmer, what kind of a crop would you be most likely to grow?
Ooh,
God, that's a great question.
I know.
Ben,
I know. Yes.
Marijuana?
No.
Oh.
I would grow grapes so I could make
loose cannabis
wine. I think that would be the most bougie farmer that I could possibly be. Would be a grape farmer make my own,
A grape farm.
Cabernets.
Really?
And I mean, like a vineyard, like go to vineyard. That's
Okay.
I mean, doesn't that seem like nice? And I'm sure it's hard work, just like any farming. It's not work that I am all that interested in doing. But, I always see like in the movies where they go through the vineyards and pluck some of the grapes and taste them, and then they check the wine and how it's going. Always seems kind of cool the way they do it. So
I'd like to grow strawberries because I like strawberries. I'd like to pick those and eat those.
Have you ever gone to the all-you-can-pick strawberry farm in Carlsbad, right off the freeway there?
No.
You can eat as much as you want. Like they charge you whatever to get in, and then you can just pick strawberries and eat them, like unlimited strawberries.
You can always just go buy them at the grocery store and eat as many as you want.
Yeah, but they're not
Just
they're not as fresh as picking them right off the vine, Woods.
I would grow corn.
Corn?
Yes, I love corn.
Really? Big stalks of corn? Would you make a corn maze? They do that at the strawberry farm there in Carlsbad, too, in the fall.
I just have always liked the way a cornfield looks.
Now, remember though, when it gets really hot and then the corn starts
sweats.
to sweat, and it just makes it even hotter. Like the Padres when they go to St. Louis during the summer and everywhere is socked in with corn sweat in the summer. That doesn't sound fun.
It doesn't, but I really enjoy corn on the cob very much, and I think I would be a decent corn farmer.
I do remember visiting my great grandparents' farm in Yuma when I was a kid. And they grew like lettuce and maybe some cabbage, and I remember it did not smell particularly good on the farm. Really? I was not a huge fan of the farm smell. I mean, fertilizer, whatever they obviously have to use, to grow the vegetables was not my favorite place to visit when I was a kid. Was the farm.
Did they put you to work there?
No, I was too small. I was probably under like 6 when I visited the farm way back in the day in Yuma, Arizona. But it was hot. I remember a little farmhouse and no air conditioning, and
In Yuma.
In Yuma, Arizona. Yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds like the worst thing.
So
of
I do
all
come
time.
from a heritage of farmers.
Yeah, we can tell.
All right, well, safe travels back to
See you,
San
buddy.
Diego. If you don't retire from broadcasting, we will see you on Thursday
No,
morning.
this is it. I told you this
You
was
threatened
it. This
You
is
threatened
the
it.
last one.
We will miss you then.
Enjoyed my time.
For Paulie Reindl, for our former co-host Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Braden and Frank coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.